Hello and welcome to Field of Geeks at the Movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Dan.
Yeah,
Special
Dan's in the
guest.
house. Special guest. Dan's a friend of the show, and we're a friend of his show, the great Doomcast.
Yeah.
So happy you're here because, this is a movie that requires your certain set of skills, your comedic skills and your comic skills.
Yeah.
All the above, right?
A lot of whiskey. So I'm glad we're doing this in the morning when it's too early to drink.
I know. Well, like I told you, I drink any time. So
This would have been a lot different movie.
Oh, man. If we were doing this at noon, we'd have cracked a whole bottle of scotch.
I told Dan, I was like, we could drink every time Aquaman gives away Batman's identity in this film.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to drive home.
Yeah, we'd be hammered in 30 minutes or so?
Well, I haven't said the movie yet, but we're seeing Justice League today, everyone. So you're welcome. We're sorry. All the above there, too. Yeah, we have a poster here. I didn't pay for this poster. So
You just got this for free?
Yeah, it was gifted to me. So I was like, I'll take it. Sure. I love the artwork and stuff. I kind of dig the cowl, how it's got the details there. It's better than the movie, I think.
The poster is?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
The poster shows you all you need to know about the movie.
Ezra Miller doesn't look like a superhero. He looks like, you know who Ezra Miller would be great as from DC?
Go for it.
Clarion the Witch Boy.
Well,
Tell me I'm wrong.
because he's in the Harry Potter world now.
Oh
so
yeah,
it's very
not just
similar.
because of that, but
Yeah.
just the shape of his face, his general attitude, the way he holds himself, everything. He doesn't make me think of the Flash.
Right.
You know, he doesn't look like a runner, first of all, and he's also, I don't know, he's just looks smarmy and sort of smug and a little, I don't know.
He's got the humor down, but as far as the running, I think you're right. I mean, who runs with their arms like?
I think
like
hopefully
this?
he was instructed to run that way for the the speed up of the effects, but I don't know. I wasn't a part of the production, so it's my guess.
Speaking of Harry Potter crossovers with Justice League, somebody the other day threw out an idea, and I don't think it would work now because I think that he's too old and he doesn't have the look for it. But if they had made Rupert Grint Wally West when he was 18, 19.
Oh, sure.
He would have been a great Wally West at the time if he could have done an American accent.
Yeah.
Now he just looks like... Have you seen Sick Note?
Yes, I've seen previews for that. That looks hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's a great show, but Rupert Grint looks like... Dude, British guys age like cheese. It's crazy.
He has not aged well.
No, and neither has the dude that played
Daniel
Draco
Radcliffe.
Malfoy. The only person, Radcliffe, is visibly, you're just oh, man, you look like, what are you, 43, 44? And he's like, no, I'm 27. You're like, oh, God, what's going on in England?
Well, they did, how many Potter movies did they do? Maybe
That's true.
Maybe that's what aged them.
Yeah, just, and then here's Rafe Fiennes, and he's just I'm 69 years old. And you look like you're 29. What did you do?
Yeah, there is no medium age. You don't.
weird.
You either age well or you don't.
Yeah, most of those British dudes don't age very well at all. Rafe Fiennes looks like he's immortal. I bet
He drinks the blood of, no.
Now the ladies, on the other hand, they age well.
yeah, it seems like Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Rewatched Excalibur the other night, and I was just Helen Mirren.
Patrick
Right on.
Stewart's in that, too.
Hello.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Maybe as long as you
pretty
drink
looking.
tea Earl Grey hot,
Yes.
then you age better.
You know
kidding.
What's funny about that is Patrick Stewart is in Excalibur, and he's also in this new movie called The Kid Who'd Be King or something like that. It's basically a ancestor of Excalibur's, or
Oh, is he
a
the same?
descendant. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like this.
He's Merlin.
He's not the same character. Oh, he's
No,
Merlin. Okay.
Patrick Stewart's playing Merlin. So.
I'm with that.
Is
Patrick Stewart
it
would be
just
a good
me, or does
Merlin.
Patrick Stewart's head not seem to age, but the rest of his body does?
Yeah.
Like in Futurama, if you
Hey,
just
Mr.
lopped
Freeze
off his
would've been
head, he'd
perfect
be
for
all
back in
right.
the day, you know?
And then you could replace him with the headless body of Agnew.
Sorry, that's good. Futurama.
Oh my gosh, so much going on here. Well, before we start the film, of course, we all know this was plagued with extensive reshoots, and we'll be able to spot them as we go. It's kind of distracting. You got fit Affleck, and then you have bloated Affleck in scenes, and there's two directors, not a complete vision of the film. It's odd that Justice League was more well known than the Avengers in the comic world, correct? Or more popular, would you say?
It was DC coming back to Gardner Fox's idea of like, let's take all of our most popular characters and put them on a team. So they did that with Justice Society in the 40s.
Sure.
So they had Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, and Spectre, Green Arrow, Black Canary, and stuff like that. And then they kind of came back to it, and they were like, well, let's put together a new, and these are all our Silver Age. They weren't calling it that at the time, but they were like, let's put a bunch of them on there. And then Marvel followed suit with the Avengers. And they were just like, and that's part of why, because DC had these legacy characters from the 40s that they were reinserting into stuff. That's why, Marvel and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were like, well, let's dig Captain America up. He hasn't been around for 10 years. They're like, let's put him on a team. And they were like, genius. Did it. So it was fun.
That is cool. Well, because Captain America, he just kind of stopped existing, right? And then when they brought him back, they did this whole he was frozen thing. Is that?
Yeah, I think that they published stuff up into like the early 50s with Captain America, and they had, I think, briefly like different characters taking up that mantle of Captain America. Gotcha. And then they just stopped publishing it because in the early 50s, things moved away from superhero stuff in comics to horror, romance, westerns, sci-fi.
Right.
And it wasn't until the late 50s again, like 58, 59, that superhero stuff started coming back fully. I mean, they never stopped publishing superhero comics. There was like Captain Marvel. There was an iteration of the Flash as early as 56, but it just wasn't as popular a thing as like, cowboys versus Indians stories and like monster stories and stuff like that. And I don't, it's hard to understand why that is. It's weird that there's a development of American culture that was like, especially in comics, that kind of followed the political changings of the United States. See, during the whole, like the Eisenhower and McCarthy years, the superhero stuff fell off. And I don't know if that's, because you're dealing with like the constant imminent threat of nuclear annihilation. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, well, I'm not as interested in the concept of justice. I'm just like, I'm very interested as a kid in things that are terrifying because that's all I'm seeing in the news. I don't know. Anyway,
and you're doing drills at school, so yeah. No.
Really stupid long answer.
No,
no, but it is interesting to point out, and I think like anything,
there's so much history. Yeah,
I'm half wondering if some of it just became, like overdone. So then they took a break, and the population, all things,
yeah.
And then the population just looked towards other things, and then slowly, once they realized that the movies were not doing so well again, then they went back to more of a, fantasy
Man,
type
I'd be
world.
surprised if we're able to keep doing superhero films at the rate that superhero films are coming out for another 5 years.
That's a good question, is how long are we going to be able to ride this train?
Well, there's been a debate, like, are they going to go the way of the Westerns? But, Westerns are still around, so...
To a degree, but not as much as they used to be.
But there's so much content. I mean...
If it keeps reinventing itself, then great. I think the people who get cranky about comics and characters being represented in comics being more diverse, I don't think that they understand that, that, like, you get upset because... I don't know, like with Captain Marvel, like Marvel's accurately portraying one of their characters that's over 50 years old, but somehow this is like, a weird feminist agenda. Like, sorry, you maybe just don't know your comics. Captain Marvel's been around for forever, like half a century, dude.
Right.
It's not ruining your childhood for Shuri to get her own movie or something like that. Or like for Marvel to, introduce like Amadeus Cho as an Asian American Hulk. Like, are you understand that it appealing to other people other than you means that this the thing that you love stays alive,
Right.
because other people want to see themselves represented in it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think that's how they can.
And we're finally getting a
on.
Black Widow movie, which I think is way overdue. I mean,
no
Yeah.
kidding.
everybody else has gotten one, and
Except for poor Hawkeye.
well,
I'm
you
all right
know,
with that. Well, there's a rumor of a.
I feel
TV
bad because
series.
he's such a great actor
Yeah.
that I think that they've kind of used him as a throwaway character
Yeah.
at points.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's just the way it kind of fell under the bus, sort of. You know, I don't.
I like to imagine that Wind River is canon part of the MCU, and it's just Scarlet Witch changing reality briefly, so that like Jeremy Renner's traumatized by one thing or the other, so she like lets not Jeremy Renner, Clint Barton, so she lets him live out the fantasy of being like, you know, this solipsistic, individualistic Midwestern hunter in Wyoming or whatever.
Right.
He's truly the only character that we've ever seen married.
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe.
MCU?
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Very good point.
he's more.
They wanted us to care
Hank Pym.
about him. Oh yeah.
But
that's
he's
true.
not like he's not one of the primary
Right.
Avengers though. Yeah, that's true.
He's more family man than anybody else, and you think Captain America would be.
Yeah. Which
God,
a lot
Tony,
of people I
get
think.
this done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he tried in Infinity War. It was real close. And then Thanos showed up.
He's like, damn it.
That's,
It's
all
just
ready
interesting overall how Marvel, they laid the groundwork for Avengers' success, and DC had to play catch up. So I think that's how.
I think they were also under the mistaken notion that they needed to do this. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily like they'd produced the Nolan trilogy of Batman films. They'd produced like 2 good Superman films in total.
Yes.
And a ton of really good animated stuff. Like they didn't need to rush to this at all, and they did.
But I think
that was their mistake.
I think to your point though, the cartoons that DC has done, the Justice League, have been so wildly successful
And so
that I
good.
think that they thought we could just automatically jump into this universe without having to give much backstory. Cartoon TV network stuff is so much different than a movie, because moviegoers require a little bit of coaxing to get into it. They don't just automatically jump into this world like you would a cartoon, where you don't have to explain as much because you already know the storyline. For some odd reason, seeing a human being on TV requires more storyline than a cartoon does.
An origin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the best thing that they've done with superhero movies in general, like Batman Beyond, is so much exposition, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you get into like, I don't know, I guess The Dark Knight had like a whole film to lead up. So perhaps it does. I love movies that just jump right in and
Right.
don't give you don't need that much explanation. I feel like they don't. But
Yeah, I really think eventually, a good example, the Spider-Man Homecoming and Civil War. We don't see Uncle Ben. There's just references wherever, you can find them, but
that's a good point.
it's not, it's just kind of like, you know who I am. I'm Spider-Man. We're going to go with it, I think that's the way Superman is. I think that's the way most people are. Maybe Aquaman probably needed his intro.
I was really hoping to see Martian Manhunter in this. He's such a pivotal character to the Justice League, and is just ungodly powerful.
I think it's also because he's on TV too. That's what screwed things. Or
but
maybe
his backstory is amazing. An entire planet wiped out, lone survivor.
He's like Superman, but even more alien than Superman in some ways.
Yeah,
and
that would've
closer
been
to home.
interesting.
It's wild.
But it probably would have been a major mess if it was in this film.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you took Aquaman. I mean,
Yeah.
here's a guy that lives underwater.
Yeah, exactly.
They introduced so much.
I know, they just threw it at the screen. I have the DVD copy in. I'm sure the Blu-ray is very similar to the menu selection. This is no extended version, sadly. I don't know if we'll ever get that.
Oh, that's right.
There's rumors it's going to happen, but we'll see.
Boy.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, we're on chapter 1 in the menu selection. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, play, and then we'll get into it. 3, 2, 1, play. And here we go.
Loading. Ooh, look at that logo.
And for those of you playing the home game, There are no points to be awarded because you're watching Justice League, technically with us, so you already lost.
It's always a bad sign when there's a lot of production companies to me, you know? Like, I don't even know who the Access is.
Entertainment?
Yeah, that wasn't in front of BVS, you know, when they did their thing. This is cool, this little intro.
Yeah, they're trying to do what Marvel did.
I think Wonder Woman introduced this intro.
Yeah, but then they have, like, Green Lantern in there, and then they have both Hawkman and Hawkgirl and...
Well, they even use that intro for their cartoon movies now, so I'm like, okay, I don't understand.
All characters that won't actually appear in the movie.
Now, I'm sure this is a Whedon add-on here. First off, that suit was not meant for that lighting. Look at it. You can see
That's
all
very...
Yeah. It's just fake.
Yeah.
I do like the blue and the red popping out.
I don't mind, like, the idea of it just being spandex and them not having sewn in...
Yeah.
You know, abs.
Right.
That's...
Not to discredit Henry Cavill, though, but he is ripped underneath that suit. I mean, where the muscles are, I'm pretty sure that's where muscles are.
Well, it's just funny. They have him getting all in shape, and they're like, here's a muscle suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's been, I mean, in terms of, like, look of how I imagine Superman looking.
Yeah.
Like, in a live-action movie, he's pretty spot on. I didn't hate Man of Steel. I
didn't
really
either.
Liked a lot of it. I think that... particularly like the death of Jonathan Kent was real weird.
I didn't like. That's my only beef about that film.
The tornado storm.
It just felt so like this has to be. I have to die.
Yeah,
This is the point of the film. I have to go.
Yeah,
a
it's just
Zack
like
Snyder film.
It's like I'd rather him die of a heart attack like he did originally in the
yeah, or like make it or like like a stroke or cancer or something like that.
Yeah, that was just stupid.
I guess cancer isn't quite as instant. I mean, something that Superman can't conceivably save him from.
Right.
That
makes total sense. You're right, because he could have just totally rushed and grabbed his dad.
This dude was in that Mindhunter show. And like was low key like one of the best parts of that show. I don't know if you guys watched that on Netflix.
I haven't yet, but I'm
great.
familiar. This actor is a character actor. I've seen him in many things.
Yeah, this dude was great.
It's weird. You can really tell the Zack Snyder Batman film scenes versus.
This is a Whedon for sure.
No, because you see his cape.
Well, from what I read, it is a Whedon because Whedon knew that guy, that actor, and they redid this beginning scene, put him in Gotham rooftop. I'm liking this so far. I mean, it's not bad. I like the suit. I prefer the BVS suit. It's got more gray to it. But that's very Arkham Knight, the device on his arm to me.
Oh yeah, it is kind of. Yeah, it's very. It sort of harkens back to all of those games that like he's got the little HUD right in the wrist gauntlet thing.
Is it a little ironic that he wears the fat bat symbol while being fat in this film?
God. I'll tell you one thing. If they made a if they make another Batman film, they should let Tom King frickin' write it. Because the current Batman run that he's doing
is amazing.
It's wild.
What is that run for people listening?
It's a DC Rebirth. They're publishing it every 2 weeks. So the stories, a lot of the issues are like short and self-contained, but usually they'll be like 3-issue arcs. Mm-hmm. So like, you're not waiting too long for another issue to come out.
Nice.
And they're all like, they're really good character study stuff, but it started a lot with like, Batman dealing with Bane kind of manipulating a lot of the, villains in Gotham.
Right.
And then eventually like beating him senseless, turning him into what they thought was a vegetable and leaving him in Arkham, and then finding out, he's low-key manipulating all the villains in Arkham from
cool.
Arkham.
Yeah.
Like that's the overall story arc, but there's a lot of cool self-contained stories.
Bring on the arcs gallery, villains to...
There's one character that they've never used in movies that they really should, is a dude named KG Beast, who's like he's an old KGB operative from the former Soviet Union, like a guy that was basically built to be like Deathstroke, more or less, by the Russian government. and like was trained to be the world's greatest assassin. And at some point in Batman comics, he loses his arm and he replaces it with like a freaking like machine gun and like just a gauntlet thing that can do anything. And he's in that run.
Well,
and it's so great.
That character actually is in BVS. They've said he's the Russian dude that gets.
That's supposedly KG Beast.
Yeah, that Batman torches. Yeah. Sorry, I made this worse.
Man, you can't. Oh man.
Well, I think it was like left open. Like I don't know. Like look for instance, the Jimmy Olsen gets shot. Like things like that.
Yeah,
that was just kind of careless.
That doesn't make any.
Yeah.
If you want a 10 times out of 10 better Batman story than you've gotten on film, literally ever, Tom King's current run, Snyder and Capullo's run before that.
I'm not sure who's writing the Matt Reeves, but that's been turned in, and I think this fall they'll start filming that with the younger Batman. Affleck has stepped out, of course, but yeah. I still don't know if he's out. I think it's kind of worded safely, but we'll see. I like Affleck as Batman. I mean, I'm a fan. I think he phoned it in a lot in this film, but I think in BVS he was really tuned into the character, in my opinion. Not aside from the writing and the multiple storylines. Broadly,
I don't hate Ben Affleck as an actor, at all. I feel like he's, unless I find out that he needs to get Me Too'd, in which case that'll probably change my opinion. But
right.
he just seems like a Boston guy that kind of fell into all of this,
right?
And Casey Affleck was a pretty accomplished actor too, but it turns out he is legit like kind of a freak.
Yeah,
I guess
he was good in the Ocean's movies though.
Yeah,
he was in Good Will Hunting as well.
Was he?
He played Affleck's brother, his character's brother too.
What was the other movie that it was really Manchester by the Sea? God, that was really good.
Oh, that was tough.
It was really hard to watch. It was really depressing.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it was terrible, but man, as a father, that scene. Oof.
Oh man, the kind of guilt that that dude lived with, like,
totally get it.
It was a really good movie.
It was.
It was very depressing though.
Yes, it was.
Bleak.
It's not a comedy, that's for sure. So yeah, at the beginning of this film, we got the Superman scene, and yeah, he has kind of a half like stroke mouth thing happening because we know about the mustache gate. They had to digitally erase everything, and
should have just left that mustache there.
Did you guys dig the beginning though in Arkham? I thought it was good. I mean,
I thought the opening, the kind of the montage of scenes is very Watchmen-like.
Yeah,
there's so much, and I'm just a big Watchmen fan, so maybe I'm pulling my mind from that, but it seems like a lot of Zack Snyder stuff he still uses from the Watchmen, like the death scene. Everything's in a rainy storm.
That's the problem, though. This film, it's all intertwined. So Whedon and Snyder just kind of
like you're trying to pull different feels from each character. So like Batman is dark, Superman is light and bright. So you're using light and bright scenes. So you have a little bit of a dichotomy there.
Yeah, I just think Snyder wasn't able to deliver what he wanted to. Like, I think his idea, like we saw the guy kick the basket of oranges. I think his idea was...
Yeah, that was definitely a Snyder move.
Everyone's in turmoil because Superman died, but it's like, I think we need like something written to tell us that. I don't know. It's very artsy, kind of.
Well, and I feel like Snyder like really wants to insert like religious overtones into things. Yeah, as much as he can, but
especially Man of Steel.
Freaking Superman isn't Christ. Like that's it's maybe one of the worst comparisons.
Superman Returns kind of did that too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like if you want to shove that in there, then by comparison that makes Batman the devil, and then they're on the same team. Like what are you? I mean, he's even got horns. You
right. Yeah.
Is that a box of sandwiches?
Burritos.
That looks like a manwich meal.
It looks like he got a whole bunch of like Chipotle.
The bomb comes later after you eat the burrito.
Everybody's covered with queso.
Well, what?
The countdown is not towards the explosion.
Are those rolls of quarters?
It's just warming up.
Yeah. The countdown's the amount of time it's going to take until he needs to go to the bathroom.
What's going on here? These guys are
she's really hungry. Superman? Like she heard they had Chipotle.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't get. these guys, it seems like a good setup, but there's not a payoff. It's like, oh, we just want to die because
Right, like
the world's terrible.
What did they come in to do here? Like, what was
Just blow
their
these
point?
people up. That's it, and themselves included.
But yeah, exactly.
I don't know
Like,
why.
Why? What were you?
Yeah.
I presume this is what, London? Is that what it was?
I think so. Yeah.
No offense, but I do want to be the closed captioner because all they're doing is just basically telling grunting, screaming,
All screaming.
all screaming.
Well, this say
Metal clangs.
I mean, that's cool.
All screaming.
But
metal
this
clangs.
next part, like, why is he just? He could have just shot everywhere. She couldn't catch all those bullets.
Well, yeah. Why is he bothering aiming?
Yeah, you're right.
Like he's sitting here, he's looking through like what I presume is a red dot. Like,
And that's like one of the worst scopes that you can put on a gun too, because it's not very accurate except for close distance.
yeah. Why not just
Cling.
spray?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to give advice on how to shoot to a person
Or
who's about to
when
murder.
Wind
a bunch of people.
howling.
That's weird.
When she grabbed that bomb, she could have grabbed the dude too and took him out of the room. Like,
That's also
what
a good
the hell?
point. You could have thrown him up there with the bomb. That would have been rad.
Yeah, there you go.
There needs to be a closed captioning Oscar, best narrative writing of a story.
Ooh ah.
Ooh ah.
Now in the preview we had Batman on horseback. I
Right
done
here,
all of that.
Batman intensifies.
Oh my god! If they had a meme writer closed caption this would be hilarious.
But this is like the scope of all of this. It's just so wasted. I think Snyder's going for something bigger, and they obviously cut it down. You know.
Well, not only that, but I mean, just that particular scene was never in the Aquaman movie, so they basically disregarded anything that Zack Snyder did.
This is they do acknowledge Justice League in Aquaman, but
This is supposed to be in Iceland?
Yeah,
I guess so.
which never happened in Aquaman.
Well, Aquaman came after Justice League because they
know.
make reference to Steppenwolf, so you can take it or leave it. What we saw here, basically, I think. Yeah, you
So,
went to
like,
Iceland to give fish away.
As an aside, you know, just I went there on vacation and like we went to a fish oil factory museum, like a museum on like just herring, and a lot of the fisheries like a lot of the waters have been overfished there, but you can still low key just like take a little trawler out and dip a net in like at just about any time of year and
Right.
come out with a few fish. So
Really?
So Aquaman's bringing fish is just like,
They're like,
Sorta weird.
Thanks, but we already have fish.
we got all these.
You got any chicken?
There's nobody out there. Nazis used to buy fish oil to grease the wheels and gears in U-boats.
Really?
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, so there was a point where they were trying to take over Iceland during the Second World War, and then they were like, we're not. Nah.
they're cool.
So they were just buying it and having the Icelandic people ship it to them.
War is hell, but God, did it smell good.
This is delicious. Can you pickle some of this?
I do like this line he said, how he's been working in Gotham, and he goes, "Oh, that shithole." I kind of dug that line.
Like, how does
That was
Aquaman
good.
know? Does he talk to fish that live over there?
Is Gotham on the eastern seaboard and he just passes it on the way to like wherever he is in Maine?
He just
It's
hopped
just
out
like-
for a sandwich one night, and it's a shithole.
I heard they have really good Philly cheesesteaks over there.
Why do you have to take your shirt off to jump into?
Because I'm
like,
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
I'm ripped.
I think if you work
Looks
out that
dirty.
hard to be in a movie, I
by all means.
I think it's like almost a requirement when you write into your contract, must show rippling abs.
Yeah, like Affleck, he would probably be shirtless right now too if he was in
If he-
shape.
yeah,
but
if he had abs.
for no reason. Just that's a reshot. You could. Oh man, there's so many reshoots part right here. You can tell. I dig it. Thanks for giving my identity away to these people.
So how do
we
you
go.
know his name? That was never discussed.
Well, Bruce Wayne's a billionaire. He's kind of like not an Elon Musk, but he's like a Tony Stark.
He just
sort
goes
of.
and swims on vacation in Hawaii, and he looks at one fish, and he's like, "I'm Batman." And then that fish goes back to Aquaman and is like, "Hey, guess what? I found out."
Yeah. Well, here's a continuity problem, and I think that's because of the reshoots and stuff. He says at the beginning, "Prep the jet. We're gonna go." He's got no beard. Now, maybe he grows a beard in a day, but he had to shave that sucker off just now. So if this is day one, How did he grow a beard so quickly? What's his secret? Is it the fish oil in Iceland, or
I don't
it's
know.
rubbing on
what
his
that
face?
is.
It's Rogaine.
So that's why I think Snyder is broken, or it's a fake beard.
Robane. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. But he's
Robane.
bald.
It's a
Whatever.
merkin
This is
for your
crazy.
face.
Oh, gross.
There's a lot
It's
of
just spirit gum, but then why does it shave off?
I think they almost had to do the shaving scene because this was an afterthought that they added into the movie.
must have been, but it was also an advertisement, I think, too.
Yeah, because they had to
advertising
explain basically the
razors.
reason why he's on the plane.
This plane's interesting. It looks like a cave, so hopefully it's not concrete. That'd be very heavy to fly. Can only go low altitudes.
Man, it does look like...
Like not a plane.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And that's the scene we didn't get in this film. That was shot of him playing football. I mean, originally Cyborg was very heavy in this film. Like his mom was in it, and they cut like all that out.
Man, Cyborg was my favorite character in this the whole way through.
We're gonna
Like,
get
he
to
was
that
the
scene.
most fun.
Yeah, like the apartment scene we're gonna see eventually. Like I dug all that.
And I feel bad because Jeremy Irons is a hell of an actor.
If they don't keep him with the Matt Reeves Batman,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be happy. 'Cause
Well,
I
when
really
Jeremy
like his
Irons
Alfred.
says, like, I don't recognize this world, I hope that they, like, take that as just like, oh, we can just reboot this the same way
Right.
we rebooted DC a bunch in comics.
This scene's goofy. He's kind of funny, but ridiculous. That's the 78 Jimmy Olsen right there. Mark McClure. He was
What?
in Back to the Future. Yeah. That's Jimmy Olsen from
Holy crap.
Yeah.
From what?
From the Reeve films.
Really?
Yep. So there's a lot of Donner-esque humor in this film to me. Like that scene. I don't know why, but
There's a nod to
it might be the music they use
That's-
too.
he was an amazing in The Watchmen.
Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's his name? Should have that here.
Billy Crudup?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I really wish that they'd use Grant Gustin for this. I don't mind Barry Allen not being a blonde dude. That doesn't bother me. I don't really care so much. But dang it, Grant Gustin was so good. Is so good.
That's a debate. Like TV to movie, they can't use the same actor.
I don't see why not.
My thought is, it's basically, you know how the movie, they want to tell an origin theatrically big, right? So if you take a TV actor and they're linked, you're almost accepting what the TV show.
Yeah.
So I think that's
I'm good with that.
I think that's their hang up, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. I understand.
But yeah, no,
It's like then they mean by extension, well, why isn't Green Arrow in this, and why can't we put
right?
or do we have to put Mr. Terrific in this now, and do we have to put like do we have to put the Atom in?
Right.
I don't know.
Because personally, John Wesley Shipp plays a great father to Grant Gustin, in the Flash show.
Yeah.
And that would have been great for the fans. Like, that's my Flash. It's always going to be my Flash. Is
John Wesley Shipp.
It was only one season. Isn't that funny how it's the longevity of that? Just
it's
sticks with
wild.
you? Yeah.
Question, and maybe you can help me understand this. If the Flash can literally break anybody out of prison or break anybody, why doesn't he get his dad out?
He did that in the show.
Yeah,
His dad's
and
like,
his
"No,
dad
take
was
me
like,
back."
"Yeah, what are you doing? Like this just makes me a fugitive. It doesn't exonerate me." And is like, "Go and prove my innocence." So he kind of
So he has an inner turmoil where he could save him, but he knows the right thing to do, so he does it anyway, kind of
Doesn't
thing.
clear his dad of the crime, basically.
right.
Right, but we all know it's the Reverse Flash that did it, at least in the
Right,
Flash
yeah.
series. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that was that was something that they introduced, like having the Reverse Flash go back and murder Nora Allen was something that they introduced in like 2006 or something. I don't know. And then they did Flashpoint with it.
Yes.
And like prior to that, it was like Barry Allen really didn't have this, like a trauma, I guess, that you get a lot of superhero characters.
Right.
Having initially.
Who do you think fantasizing? I mean, I think Ezra Miller is still going to be the Flash. Who could you picture be the Reverse Flash, like casting wise? Like, it'd have to be kind of like him, right? Similar.
Inside Out Ezra Miller. Reach down into his stomach,
CG.
pull everything out, like Inside Out Ezra Miller. That's gross.
You know what's funny? What I read lately, the Flash movie's been put on hold because he's going to film another Fantastic Beasts sequel. Man. But I'm like, that last one was the worst performing one out of all the Harry Potters, and it's like,
was that because
movies?
Well,
do a Wally West Flash movie. Mm-hmm. Like, cast somebody else, have it in a world where, like, Barry Allen exists and the Flash is something that already exists,
right?
And like somebody who's, you know, make it sort of like Spider-Man, like Peter Parker, where Barry Allen is sort of his Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming, like teaching him, like, you know, this is what it means to be a superhero. Like, you can do all this stuff, but I can't break my dad out of prison. And like, here's, you know, and he doesn't even know initially that Barry Allen is the Flash. That would be a great movie.
Yeah,
I'd be all about it.
Cool.
I could see that doing well in the CW, but you almost need a little bit of background history to know Barry Allen's Flash before you get into Wally West.
That's a good point.
Order. Yeah,
it does make a difference.
Well, it's cool.
But I guess I could see it if you did on a scale where at the very end of the movie he finds out that there's another type that he is, but there's so much Wally West and Barry Allen interaction that I don't think it would ever work. There was a big hubbub about the amount of uniform that the ladies were wearing in this movie.
Or the lack of. Yeah.
And they were trying to hate on
they were just
Miller,
picking the hell out of it. Yeah.
I mean, and they were all like, he was probably one of the nicest, most understanding guys while filming.
Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder. And understanding and...
Like, the variety of costumes, and not all bikinis, you know. Like, I get the criticism.
Here you have an entire race of women who, I mean...
And they live on a remote island that looks like it's temperate, and it has no season other than summer. I mean, I understand that they're ideally, like, connected to Greek culture broadly.
Yeah.
But if it's just a race of women that are immortal, that have lived on this island for forever, why would they wear clothing at all?
Yeah, right.
Like, you maybe don't need it.
Right, true. Give us that movie. No.
I mean, I'm not asking them to.
No,
I'm just pointing out, like, you know, you have a lot of...
I mean, you need armor for stuff, but you wouldn't need much.
I like everything but the face, pretty much. I think...
And he was supposed to look completely different.
Well, yeah, the original...
Steppenwolf's such a weird choice.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're going to introduce, like, new gods, right? Like...
Well, and you saw the Kevin Smith interview that he did where he was talking about Zack Snyder's vision for 2 and 3.
Yeah,
when he was
films, yeah.
When Steppenwolf was supposed to be going up at the end,
he saw Darkseid.
All of a sudden, Darkseid comes down, and that was supposed to be the end. And then they were supposed to basically thread into that for the second movie.
But you pick Steppenwolf and not like Desaad or Kalibak, or like even. Like, and then you're going to do Steppenwolf, but you're not going to have, like, Mr. Miracle or Big Barda or Metron or anything like that.
Right.
I don't know. Makes things more difficult.
I know.
And Steppenwolf's story, anyway, is kind of a weird one because isn't he kind of like a stepchild to Darkseid or whatever? I mean, he's not...
He's the uncle of Darkseid, isn't he?
Yeah. He's like... And Kalibak is...
He's kind of the black eye of the
biological
family.
Son of Darkseid.
Yeah.
And Orion's his adopted son, was raised on New Genesis. I'm sorry, Orion's his biological son, too, was raised on New Genesis.
Why couldn't they use...
And these mother boxes were things that they already had. Like, they weren't like... They just introduced them as a MacGuffin in this, like, that they're going and trying to get. It's technology.
It's just like the Bruce Wayne scene in the Arctic or whatever. there's mystery they're building up to, but then they just go right into it. You know, like the whole mother box thing. That was intriguing. Like, what are these? What do they do?
Well,
and all of a
it's
sudden we're
because
throwing them around like they're a ball. You know,
it's because they couldn't put. I mean, if you're going to do the New Gods, you can't use the MacGuffin that they used in comics, which is the anti-life equation, because it's such a weird '70s Kirby thing that it makes zero sense to a moviegoer.
Right.
You're like, oh, there's a mathematical equation that's kept on Earth that is the equivalent of suicidal depression, and that's what Darkseid wants. Like, people are going to be like, I don't think.
Well, it's like they should have just
What if it's a
introduced the
box?
mystery, right? And then the follow-up films, they could go more into what they are and what they do. This forces you to just be like, just strap in. And then you're just kind of walking out like, what did I just see? I
Well, yeah, it's something tangible that they're fighting over.
And a box that big would not be that lightweight.
Well,
Yeah,
for
you
them
could-
it would, maybe. Not for the horse, though.
And
I mean,
why
that's
didn't
a
we
hell of an
see?
arrow.
I know. And why wouldn't we hear a "Give me the cube, boy"?
That's very funny.
Yeah, the actor they got to voice him and maybe they did some motion cap on his face, but man, it just took away his essence, you know? It's just...
Yeah.
I said this once, this feels like 10 years before the Thanos we got in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Just how... Look at that. It's crazy. I don't mind everything else, but that face just... And the whole boom tube, like, we didn't even see this before, and now it's just like, oh, it's just a little thing.
Well, they made it like Bifrost from the MCU.
Yeah,
the way that they do that.
Or
And
like a beam out, Star Trek style. you know?
I never imagined it that way. I imagine, like, the way they do the boom tubes in comics is just like a giant portal that opens up behind you,
Right.
and it's like deafening.
Yeah.
And then you're just gone.
Well, hell,
like,
the first Thor movie kind of gave you that a little bit with the Bifrost. I thought, you know, it's like, wow, this is a big thing, this contraption. Then you're just slingshotted into another realm. Like,
I mean, imagine if the MCU had been, like, if they had the rights to some of their more major villains other than Thanos, and then they tried to, like, I don't think they could have built a universe around better characters, because if they'd had the rights to, like, using Magneto or Doctor Doom or, like, Galactus or something like that,
There
it
is
would've been
talks.
so much harder.
So I've heard rumors, and I don't know. I mean, you know, internet rumors can spark through a million different things. But the original talks, when they finally got Spider-Man from Fox, was supposed to be a part of that deal, was that they get Galactus
And
Silver Surfer with
Tin-
it.
and the Silver Surfer with it. So
Fantastic Four would have to come with it too, I would hope.
yeah, so there's talk that we're going to get
Doom.
to see Galactus at the very end of Endgame. Now, that's all hearsay, but
That would be crazy.
take it with a grain of salt.
I would love it if, like, Galactus, and then you have, like, some guy inside of a laboratory with green fire working on a suit of armor that he's got, like, Stark Tech plans that he's reverse engineering, and he puts a mask on and it's frickin' Doom. I'm sorry. That's all I want. And he turns around and, like...
But if they do Galactus, don't make him just a cloud of dust.
Oh, they're not going to. No way.
That was
The
god
MCU in
awful.
Control? No.
No.
Not happening. Yeah, Fantastic Four.
But
can't
they
wait
also
for
can't
that.
make him a Celestial, because that doesn't make sense. He's got to be outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
They
But he's
got
got to be big enough that he can move planets. The problem is that when you get into Galactus, you've got things that are bigger than what normal people can understand, because Captain Marvel has slammed people in between two planets and killed them. So I mean, how do you put that into a movie and make it understandable for most people?
Just build up.
They managed to get a talking raccoon in a tree and an alien space
what
god.
they've done.
They can pull it off.
But
That's why
partially-
I don't understand why DC can't do, like, some of their insane high concept stuff. I don't know.
Well, perhaps they'll go that route. I mean,
I hope.
they have to put the time and the money at it. You know, they can't give us this Steppenwolf like enemy with the CGI
Yes.
PlayStation 2 look. Like, come on. Like, let's invest in this character and let's make him badass.
A better first Justice League movie would be a legitimately malevolent, scary Lex Luthor that has positioned himself in a way that Superman can't beat him, so that he has to go and recruit the skills of the world's greatest detective and the fastest man alive to go gain evidence, maybe, Aquaman to do some of the same. Create a threat that's existential enough, but also relatable enough that you don't have to explain it too much, but also a foil to, like, this is just one regular dude who's just really super shitty and rich.
Yeah, right.
That it takes literally 7 superheroes to stop. Mm-hmm. That's a great movie.
That would have built up better.
Compelling.
And it would have built up better, and then we wouldn't have gotten Batman versus Superman. Superman would not have died.
Right.
The only problem is that we've been looking for a Batman versus Superman for so long that I wonder if the studios just said,
well, they were like,
right,
if we put both of these characters in, then it can't possibly fail. And it didn't. I mean, it made the money that they wanted it to make.
But I think to your point, though, it would have brought the team together better because...
And it also would have stood out from Marvel movies because, and you could even give Luthor a line like that, where he's just like, it takes 7 of you to stand against one human being. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they had a strong enough Lex Luthor to bring that to fruition, though. I don't think the character was strong enough.
If they'd made Jesse Eisenberg just play the character that he played in The Social Network, that would have been a perfect Lex Luthor. Just shave his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg is Lex Luthor. Don't put this on Facebook.
Well, I mean, we're going to get there, but the end credit scene, I think, is a big correction, and I dug it. Like, I dug the Deathstroke.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm afraid we're not going to get that now, but we'll see. Maybe we will.
Now, here's the part that interests me. We get a pretty good amount of scene time with Wonder Woman in tight pants, and a lot of butt shots in this.
Yeah.
So,
it's pretty gratuitous.
I don't know if it's Whedon or...
So thank you, either Whedon or Snyder. My hat goes off to you.
Gal Gadot's like, the camera had to be right there. Batman's building a big plane. So this is kind of shoehorned in, this scene, a little bit. Which I heard originally this was going to be the first scene of the film. A big-ass battle like this. And
that would have been okay.
Because it would show the Mother Box history and...
Marvel Zombies!
Yeah, now they're walking. It just feels like we're going to mesh all this together.
And then we see a brief shot of a Green Lantern who Steve knows no name of.
Well, I think
like just a random.
Thought he knew, and then I think it turned out to be someone that's not even in the comics.
Yeah, it's not even in the comics.
Yeah. Unity.
Best friends.
I was just thinking of that. Rick James.
That's
skit.
So ridiculous.
Dave Chappelle, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's before Atlanteans went underwater.
I do like...
All yelling.
I like the casting of...
all yelling. Yelling!
Yelling!
Joe Morton as Cyborg's dad.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's this? With a cape?
Yep.
And that's...
Shazam.
Is it?
That's definitely Shazam. With the lightning? Yeah.
You mean a Shazam, not...
No, the wizard.
Oh, okay.
Like the OG Shazam that gives his...
That guy.
That'll end up, that'll end up giving his...
looking dude. Yeah.
He'll end up giving his power to Billy Batson and... is The Rock Black Adam? Are they doing that?
I don't know.
Man, I hope they
Well,
do that.
he says he is, and he's going to do it. But I think Shazam's going to give us some surprises. Honestly, there'll be a few scenes we didn't see coming.
It's weird that both Captain Marvels are getting a movie in the same year. That's sort of wild.
Hey, that looks like the dude in Aquaman. That hologram they see.
Yeah.
It's probably not, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, it is. I think that's supposed to be
It looks just like him.
Atlan.
And that looks like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, of course.
So where did that one come out
For
of?
men, they made 9 rings. Who above all else?
They never
desire
explain
power.
how they get that one.
The third box.
Yeah.
I think they took all of them, but they let just people like. I love how they like the Amazons are like, we're going to guard it inside the sacred tower, and then like Atlanteans are like, we're going to guard it inside of our sacred magical whatever, and people are like, bury it, put it in the ground, 3 or 4 feet down, that'd be fine. Nobody's going to find it there.
That's good.
Where did they end up? Oh, where did they end up finding the third one that they that they had human beings burying?
Well, Star Labs
Is it in
has
Gotham?
one. That's what.
Oh, okay.
That's what made Cyborg.
Well, of course, Star Labs has it because it was buried like 4 feet down. Like it was
They just ran one of those cheesy metal detectors.
yeah.
I mean,
on the
ironically-
each on a weekend.
Truth be told, you would have been able to find it if you were building a house.
What is this?
I mean,
Well, this is crazy.
It was a furniture piece for many years, and
they buried it shallower than they'd bury a person.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was hardly well hidden at
No.
all.
Like if it had an aroma, you'd be able to smell it.
so I know these Poppy videos were changed. If you look at the original trailer, it's something else. That's odd to me.
Yeah, very weird choices.
But I think they wanted to get the overseas appeal more. You know, I don't know.
Well, then why not change it so overseas people can see it that way?
It's weird.
I don't know. Now, does the Flash steal money? How can he afford all that setup?
Why does he have wire on his suit? What's the wire for?
Well, it's supposedly like space shuttle armor.
He says gorilla sign language.
Gorilla-
I love that they
Grodd,
suggest
yeah,
Grodd, but
Yep.
Can you imagine if he did sign language at that speed? Nobody would be able to read it.
Maybe that's what he does. He does Micro Machine commercials and he gets spanked.
Micro machine for the blind.
So if he wasn't the Flash, he'd be dead, pretty much.
right, like it's Batman's just really hedging his bet.
Not another one, no. Alfred, I've done something terrible.
He's faster than Jet Li at Kung Fu.
There's a reshoot coming up.
You're the Batman, so you're fast. That feels like an oversimplification of putting together a team. People with special abilities. See, I believe enemies are coming. Stop right there. I'm in. You are? Yeah, I need friends. People are difficult. They require a lot of focus. They have like a rhythm.
I think this is a Whedon scene.
Like brunch. Like
Yeah.
This is a corny.
That's Whedon.
Like,
That's Whedon's
yeah.
line, brunch.
Yeah,
Stupid.
that's very much a Joss Whedon type thing, and I feel like that's why they don't mesh quite the same way.
Yeah.
Like it works if the rest of the movie sounds like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Have you noticed that after Whedon got done with the Marvel Universe, movies got a little bit better? I mean, not to knock
After
him.
the first Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You think that just was a lightning in a bottle situation, the Avengers?
it wasn't bad, and I feel like it needed him at the time, but then I feel like it did need,
The Russos brothers took them the step above, and once they got into
damn right they did.
and once they got into like Captain America, Winter Soldier, you could tell that was these are the people that should be writing these movies.
Right, yeah.
And I'm so glad that they went that direction because the movies have been better ever since.
That car they just featured, I think they were going to show more of it. Snyder had it built from, it didn't exist. It's from Gran Turismo the game.
Oh yeah.
He actually had that car built from a video game.
For this movie?
Okay, so here's the question:
And
how
there's
much?
a shot before that?
How
shot
much was
cut out,
spent on that?
The car turned, and so there's probably gonna be more shots of it. It's so beautiful, but yeah, it's another thing they just kick to the curb. You know, it's
you spent all that money on that one thing for this movie that you barely used. Like, you could have just focused on the things that mattered and paid attention to, the actual comics and let somebody write a good story and left it that way.
Yeah, I mean, they built a damn car. Like, show it off.
Well, the other thing is the scene where Alfred says, "You came in the nick of time." All the directors and the lighting guys and all that stuff said that they had a green hue light shined upon Alfred, which meant that was supposed to be the Green Lantern's entrance into the movies.
Or, I mean, the other thing is they could have done alternate shots, too. Because that was a deleted scene, and Cavill had a shaved face.
Well, Cavill was supposed to still come in when he went in, but he was supposed to be wearing the black Superman suit, and the Green Lantern was supposed to have a bigger part in this, and they managed to put Superman back in so that he could kind of save the day. But the Green Lantern was supposed to have a big part at the very final.
The second Justice League was supposed to feature the Lanterns because they were going to go cosmic. They were going to go to Darkseid's planet, which escapes me.
Apokolips?
Yep.
I take it the Green Lantern Corps is still...
Yeah, that's still...
Is that still 2020? Or has that been pushed back now?
I don't know.
Because that was the original start date.
That's crazy. To harp on how great Tom King is as a writer again. His Mr. Miracle 12-issue series is coming out in trade in like a week or two, and it's nuts. It's one of the best single things to come out of DC in a dozen years. It's really worth it, and it's bonkers. It is. It's very funny, and it's really heartbreaking at the same time, and it's really good.
It deals with Cyborg?
It deals with Mr. Miracle from the New Gods.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep.
He was raised on Apokolips, but he was the son of Highfather, the guy from New Genesis. And it deals with him living on Earth with Big Barda, his wife, and kind of... ending up in a real dark place. And so it literally opens with him attempting suicide. And then the rest of the whole thing is like a kind of a meditation on being in a really dark place, but like working through that with your spouse, but also just the nature of like superheroics and the absurdity of the whole New Gods thing. It's very hard to explain, but even if you're not a DC fan, it's pretty incredible. I don't know.
Well, basically, if they ever tackle New Gods, they'd probably have to do like a Lord of the Rings, wouldn't they? A 3-picture deal, maybe. They'd
have to start with a lot of exposition.
Yeah,
and I feel like they tried to shove that and Justice League together at the same time, and I feel like that's just too much of a mess.
Yeah. Like it's almost like better just to simplify the plot in a way, like you said, like with Lex Luthor, for instance, take all that other stuff out of the equation.
I'm just going to tell you from experience that 1, nothing is that dirty in Iceland. Everything is spotlessly clean. 2, everybody drinks really good beer, and it just... the only whiskeys there are like domestically produced.
Yeah.
I don't really think you can probably get Jim Beam.
Maybe he brings his own everywhere
he must bring he just brings his own.
He's got
Jim
a cooler.
Beam.
That was a scene we didn't get.
Sense. So he knows where Mara and Atlantis is, and he goes. But then
William Dafoe was gonna. They shot him in this one, and they took it out, of course.
Oh,
yeah.
This is weird.
I know.
Come on.
Which is why they retconned it in the Aquaman film. A little bit more, of course. This scene's kind of cool. I like this. A little suspense. Like, what's going on? Then you see that fake face, and you're like, I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah, it does. Yells.
Sort of worked for a 90s film.
This is cool.
And everything's supposed to be light and bright.
That's so weird. He knows all about this stuff. and knows this exists.
That's why I'm thinking this, like the whole Justice League came before, or it came after Aquaman.
You would think, but he's using the old trident in
But
this.
I know for sure it didn't, because she said you guys took on Steppenwolf in Aquaman. She actually said that because he says, "Why are you bothering me?" It's like, you guys defeated Steppenwolf, so we need you. So they did acknowledge Justice League, but yeah, it doesn't make sense.
By the
I agree.
horns. No, it does.
Bam.
It is kind of a mess.
And who does a 360 in water?
Aquaman, certainly not Steppenwolf. Like, look at this guy. Look at his bulk. He's a bulky guy.
Bye-bye.
I mean, is he that powerful? He can breathe underwater, Steppenwolf? I mean, that's just weird.
Yeah, that's a good question. And he's in
give
comics.
him a
He's so much
mask.
more humanoid. He's
Yeah.
not like, he doesn't look like a monster. He's just like, and in comics he's a dude with a mustache, which is silly.
Do you like this air bubble thing? It's kind of interesting. I like this where he's putting his hand out, playing with the water and stuff.
DC's inherently silly in some points, and I feel like to make things like that work, you have to embrace it.
Like they did in Aquaman.
The Young Justice cartoon totally does that. It's freaking great, man.
She doesn't have red hair here,
She did underwater. Now she doesn't.
right?
I know she's wearing a wig in Aquaman. Yeah, they changed up a few things.
What in the hell?
Yeah, because he's like, my mom left me. And then Aquaman, he's like, my mom and dad loved each other. It's like the dad just kept that from him until recently. It's like, by the way, your mom wasn't a piece of shit. We actually loved each other, and she had to leave.
Yeah, things were.
Sorry,
great,
I should have told you a long
actually.
time ago, buddy.
Yeah, or-
M. Night Shyamalan. What a
Now,
twist.
this is all Whedon. This Russian family
Yeah.
that we just don't really care about. I don't know.
Well, I kind of respect what
Parents
Whedon's trying to
speaking in
do.
Russian.
Yeah.
Because what he was trying to do is like, oh, there's a human side to this, and
Yeah.
there's something that's at stake, and it's these people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
So he tries to create that, but it's also like with all the other exposition of all the other stuff, halfway through the movie, like, I'm supposed to care about Cyborg, Aquaman, the Flash, and who Steppenwolf is, and this now. I don't. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's just a lot. There's a lot to ask.
Well, and then those creatures could get through that house.
Oh yeah, no shit. Like,
So why
are
didn't they
you-
just go to a cellar or something? And the funny thing is, you feel like this is the only family in that area. Until
We don't
they
have
leave at
cellars
the
in
end.
Russia. There are no cellars. We cannot afford basement.
Why? Why don't they just call it Chernobyl?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one family that lives there anymore.
Well, not until when they leave.
Yeah.
Then you see all kinds of families.
Yeah.
Is that what this was? This supposed to be in Chernobyl?
I don't think so. I'm just.
Well, this is
Joking
all. I
around.
think this is all Whedon. Like, there's not really a big
It's
vision.
a fictitious Russian area.
I knew a guy in college who lived or was born close to not Pripyat, but like close enough to Chernobyl that like he remembers having to evacuate in like 86
wow.
and stuff.
I've
cool.
seen like a recreation of that, and it's like, oh, it's so oof.
It's crazy.
Oh, it is.
Kids playing with blocks that were radioactive waste.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it
not
just-
knowing it because
Yeah.
it's not hot. Like it's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
They build a facility around it, and 'cause PBS, they went back there, and it's like another 100 years or so. I think they can go back.
Yeah,
They have to
because
keep-
it's so irradiated.
They have to keep containing the original, like the plant or the reactor.
They tried to
build
send.
They had to build something else to go over it.
Yeah, they
Crazy.
keep on trying to send robots into the actual
It's nuts.
nuclear plant, and when they found what they called Medusa, which was a big blob of radioactive waste, it shorted out the camera in such quick order that they were like, we gotta go. And I think they gave basically the firefighters that were there like rain suits to go fight that.
Yeah,
And I mean,
they like all died.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. I mean,
And there's still, I think some of those suits are still down there. They like went into the basement and stuff.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about radioactive stuff is that you're not going to feel it. You're not going to know what it is until you start feeling, ooh, butt shot.
You might feel very warm.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
at best.
Well, that's just like the first nuclear bomb test. I saw
It'd be a terrible
footage
way to
of
die.
soldiers because they're like, let's see what it does to people, and they just had the soldiers just walk around, and like all those people died. You know, it's crazy.
Well, it's like getting a million X-rays all at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, even the when they invented X-rays, like the first couple of people who were subjected to that, like I think, oh God, what was it on This American Life? Ira Glass was talking about how his grandmother had chronic acne when she was in her like teens and 20s, and this is just after X-rays had been invented, and one of their treatments was to bombard your face with X-rays.
Oh, jeez.
And so she got like massive tumors and had to have surgery in her 30s and 40s, and it disfigured her permanently.
Oh,
and it was just really, it's
terrible.
one of the most difficult like things to listen to, but it's like that's what medicine was like people just didn't understand what they were dealing with
right.
with radiation.
Well, the people that found uranium or whatever, they died from basically nuclear poisoning.
But John McClane did go back to Chernobyl in the fifth Die Hard movie.
And was fine. Yeah. I mean, he's fallen down. He's been shot,
He
stabbed.
fell into a pool, which probably has no radiation.
Yeah,
or,
of course not. No residual anything.
At least this movie's more grounded in Die Hard 5, let's say.
Hard.
We can give it that, right?
Yeah. Die Hard 7. Like,
In space.
yeah, he's
He
just
teams up with Machete, and they take on
he's getting
Mel Gibson.
terrible radiation poisoning and gradually getting cancer.
Oh wow, they really just vanished. Huh? Oh.
Can you just picture all of them like, quickly run? Gotta get off the rooftop.
Come on.
Wouldn't it be funny if they were like hiding up in the rafters and he thought they all
Still
went home?
there. Batman built a tank. Tank Man. Looks like he has a blue
This
suit.
is insane that this isn't even like, yeah, we're not even close to like halfway through, are we?
But it's a 2-hour movie. Like, exactly 2 hours. But it feels longer.
Look to your left, see a stack.
Look to your left, look to your right.
What?
Don't you think it's cool that they got Miles Dyson, the actor who played him, Joe Morton, to play Cyborg's dad?
Yeah, actually.
That's good casting. They did some stuff right. This whole scene, like we were talking about earlier, it's like a video game scene, really. You gotta climb up the...
They should have had a death scene for him very similar to Terminator 2, where he's holding like a bomb. And he... That's like all he's good for in movies, or his death scenes.
Well, he was in Blues Brothers 2000, and
Yeah.
he has a great voice, so... Flash is getting sick.
Okay, here's the thing. See, I'm afraid of bugs.
Is that Barry Allen? Is he afraid of bugs and guns? And
I don't think so.
that'd be a boring comic, wouldn't it? I don't want to go outside.
You're able to do all of this stuff, but you're not even come on.
Barry, I fight crime in a rubber suit. Really seals in the flavor.
Yeah, you're just constantly baking in there. Ugh.
It'd be funny if he had like little bat jets underneath.
The inside of that
Yeah, that could be
mask
cool.
smells like Affleck. Just sweaty, gross. Ooh.
Well, to talk about John Wesley Shipp again, when he did his Flash in the 90s, they never washed that suit.
What?
That's what he said.
For a whole season? Man, no wonder there
Said
was
it
only
smelled
one season.
so bad. Yeah.
Why couldn't they wash it? Well, I wonder
Because
what.
if you look at the material, it was so...
Was it like rubber and felt? Mixed them together?
Kind of was. It was very in the lines of the Keaton Batman type suit, but
You couldn't dry clean it even? Jeez.
I don't think so.
Just put some
Febreze
talcum
it.
powder in there.
Before Febreze. Brute. They put a bunch of Brute on it, maybe.
Boy, talk about a 90s cologne. Brute.
Drakkar Noir.
My dad had Brute.
God, my
I knew
uncle
that
had
was
Brute.
boss.
I love the smell
Brute,
of
thanks,
Brute.
Dad.
Oh, come on. Let's not knock Brute.
No,
That is
no,
a
I'm not
classic.
knocking it. There's worse things.
Now, we could knock Jupe.
Jupe?
Oh, God, that's a horrible
What was
smell.
that stuff that came in like a spray bottle? I'd get that too.
Oh, Axe? Or
No,
are
it
you
wasn't
talking
Axe. It was something else. It literally looked like a spray bottle.
Bod?
Like yeah, I
That
think
stuff
that's what it
was-
was.
Oh, yeah,
Terrible.
Bod.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
I
looked
used
like a
to-
cleaning product when you got it. It was like, this is for my clothes and face and stuff? Okay.
Remember when Curve came out and everybody had to wear it?
Yeah. That's still out?
Yeah.
It's sort of a gross thing to say.
What?
My axe is still slick with the blood of your sisters. That's real gross.
I know, what a jerk.
It's real evocative.
Asshole.
What was he doing with his axe?
Ah, right? That's gross.
What does he do at night?
Give me Nightcrawler.
Well,
From X-Men? This kind of seems stupid to me. I don't know. Do you
yeah,
like this?
it's not a bat.
It's
thing.
taking forever, by the way. Wouldn't a Batwing be better? Just hovers up there and
Yeah, it makes a whole lot
drops
less
a
sense.
rope.
Well, and then that and like everything that Batman has like machine guns connected to it, which also makes somehow drastically less sense.
Right.
I have to admit, out of all the actors, Cyborg probably had the easiest amount of time acting. Only because all he needed to do was his face. And
Yeah,
there's
he
no
just,
suit.
He just wore a suit, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they just had a mocap suit on him too.
Probably.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
You just had to be careful that the little golf balls didn't fall off.
Right. Level 2.
Now, this is where they need to put the health bar up top. And then they have video game controllers at the bottom.
Right, what is she... I think I said this before. What does she need the sword for?
He's got the axe. I mean,
Yeah, it's like it gives her power.
Well, it's like we said. It's just like...
Cling your wrists together.
Right, exactly.
why not
Come
use the
on.
lasso of truth to really get down to why Steppenwolf is so mad?
Or hell, take that crawler thing
That's a great
and
point.
shove it up Steppenwolf's ass. I mean,
Well,
she could
and if
probably
it's
grab him-
unbreakable,
Yeah.
like, swing him around and hang him with it. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah, just,
Well, that
there
would
wasn't
end
a
the
lot
movie
of
too
thought
quick,
in this
though.
action scene. They're just like, oh, let's just go with the tropes. He needs the sword. Batman has to shoot machine guns. I mean, it's a cool shot, but
Sure, we focused on making
then
this
Flash
spectacle.
loses his finger. No.
And
well,
didn't we
and
already
we
see
also made this like, vaguely like the very successful shots from the current X-Men franchise.
Yeah.
I don't remember him saying, oh, fuck, but...
What?
Because it just had in the closed captioning, oh, fuck.
It did?
Yeah.
That's
What?
That's very
That's a Whedon scene. Oh, boobs. Odd.
She pointed to her boobies.
that's
You know what helped the reception of this film? Besides, like, alcohol and stuff? The success of Wonder Woman. That's what
yeah,
really helped
that's
us.
for sure.
So it was actually cool to see her island again at first.
So he throws that line in, but this is the only one of the quote unquote new gods that they introduce.
Yeah, it's really... Help me! Couldn't he just spin himself really quick? And
Well, he could vibrate himself, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I guess you could argue he doesn't know all of his powers yet, but or his abilities. I don't know.
Wally West would have been able to do it.
he would.
That's a deleted scene. Who's Wally?
Well, and the whole thing from Batman versus Superman. Oh, shoot, I'm too early. That never played to fruition.
See, this makes so much.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly down with this. Cyborg just jacking in and taking over a whole, like,
Yeah, I think we should add more Cyborg, like they intended.
so much more Cyborg.
Ground it with make Cyborg the center. He's a great character, and it'd be a shame if they don't do a solo film. I think they're still planning on it, but he's a good actor. I think he did a good job. Do you like Cyborg's look?
Yeah, I mean it's
terrible.
stylized for
Yeah.
the rest of the movie, and
like
I
the
guess
head
it fits the rest
more.
of the armor
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right. Well, that's another end scene which we'll get to. Everything great's coming at the end, basically. Do you recall? He's in the lab, and all of a sudden his suit grows more, and it has like forms a symbol. Yeah, he gets all that at the end of this film.
I love.
It's been a while, but it's all coming back to me now. What happens?
It's crazy that Batman like takes Barry Allen from this and like tries to like walk him back,
Yeah,
like to the. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
instead of like being like Barry, get me back to the Bat Walker,
tank.
Bat Tank.
Nightcrawler, he calls it. Nightcrawler. Well, I know Batman's got gadgets, but he also relies on intellect. He doesn't always need, like, his toys, basically. How they do it in the films, it seems. You know, like,
Yeah.
he's screaming at Alfred, give me the Nightcrawler. Like,
Yeah, there isn't.
dude,
There isn't as much of that.
think on your feet. That's
Right. That's what I think everybody usually tends to appreciate about Batman is its ingenuity over
Right.
just sheer power.
Right. Well, and the Matt Reeves is going to explore the detective side of Batman, so I'm really anxious.
Good.
What a dick. He
See
just
that?
left.
It'd be terrible if Aquaman gave away Bruce Wayne's identity right here. Batman Bruce Wayne, how
up,
you
Bruce?
doing? You just imagine Batman like, shut the fuck up. This is Gordon. He doesn't know who I am.
Lost Box of Men.
I've got it.
Buried 5 feet deep. I got it.
I found it on a Tuesday.
We made this cool case for it. It's got a lock.
So all of these parademons are just like hanging out outside of this house.
They won't go through the glass or anything.
Yeah, heaven forbid they get slightly cut.
But those Russian chairs and, you
Well,
know.
it's good wood.
Yeah.
The sturdy construction of a Russian bookcase. Like unbreakable.
We've got caviar. We got vodka.
All right. What does she find in here?
Bug spray.
Bug spray. Oh,
That's
okay.
cute.
That's a Whedon.
Yeah, I'll be safe now. All right, that's.
Why don't you just advertise Raid while they're at it? Just put all the product placement
I
in.
mean, they
you
already
know?
did Samsung.
Michael Bay the shit out of it. I need a Mountain Dew. Anybody? The cave.
Yeah.
Too goofy.
Yeah, it is just a little.
Come on, man. Seriously?
A little over the top.
5?
goofy.
I mean, we got to name the cave officially the Bat Cave, so we needed that line.
How old are the mother boxes? Do we know?
Thousands of years old, right?
Yeah, in this movie.
Before time began, there was the cube.
They just throw Autobots in.
The DC universe stole from Transformers.
Well,
Or did
the
they?
other way around. Transformers weren't until 80s, right?
Yeah.
They just wanted to sell toys.
But they created the cube.
Maybe they stole from Michael Bay.
Yes. Everybody steals from Michael Bay. Even Michael
And
Bay.
they make it better.
Now there's a movie idea. A Day in the Life of Michael Bay.
Oh boy, I don't. You couldn't rate that film.
No.
He wakes up, goes to the mirror. What's cooking good looking?
Oh,
40 blonde chicks.
a slow traveling shot around him with like a weird glint.
As he gets up from the shitter to do that bad boy shot when they get up from the ground.
Yeah, where it just.
He gets into his car and it's like all of a sudden stop motion and then they do a 180 around his car.
And it transforms. Ooh, this is a... He's going to hurt her feelings in a second here.
We know we can't bring it back. But this is science beyond our limits. And that's what science
yeah, damn, why did they kill Superman? Such a mess.
Yeah, it doesn't make really any sense. Like that
We
they
didn't get to
decided
know
to do
him
that
much, and
it didn't make any sense to put Doomsday in that anyway.
well, it didn't also make sense people to love him so much. Like that was a big jump from Man of Steel to,
Yeah,
you didn't get that.
a very big jump.
Yeah. Well, and we'll get to it when he comes back after he gains his nice side back. He's like super comedic and he's just enjoying life. I mean, I guess if you came back from the dead, you'd be
him
that
versus I don't know. Those two, the big mistake was not having those two versus Luthor, and like even I don't know. It's fine. Like I think Gal Gadot's probably the best choice that you could have for Wonder Woman, and I think her movie was amazing, but they didn't need to introduce her in Batman versus Superman, or they could have done something different.
Or they could.
It should have just been keep. If you're adding more than one antagonist into a superhero movie, you are adding too many antagonists.
Yeah, it's been proven that it just
Over and
doesn't
over.
work.
See, this is a conversation that Bruce Wayne has constantly when the Martian Manhunter's here, and Martian Manhunter normally steps in and makes things a little bit more realistic to everybody.
Well, who leads Justice League normally? Is it him or is it Bruce Wayne or is it Batman? Martian Manhunter or Batman?
Martian Manhunter's kind of like the head honcho guy. Bruce Wayne kind of goes off on his own tangents, and
He's sort of their Tony Stark, who's like
Yeah.
funding a lot of their tech and building the Watchtower and coordinating this, that, and the other thing with Star Labs.
Right.
But yeah, you get like in between.
remember
Yeah.
that pivotal episode in Justice League where Batman creates like a trigger point for everybody, but he doesn't create one for himself until the very end of the episode where Superman asks, "So what fallback did you have for yourself?" And then he says, "You guys." Because, I mean, really, he has no superpowers. He's just got amazing intellect.
Well, that might have been retconned lately. Is he has a super intellect? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
but
like that, but I'm just saying. They're so eager to like everyone's got to have a power.
Even the Justice League isn't very much of a good fail-safe for. I mean, the comic book Batman. Like there was an arc where Snyder did called Endgame, where the Joker-fies the entire Justice League, and he just whips out a bat mech and is just like, "Fine, I'll take you on," and just takes like at great cost, like goes toe to toe with like Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, like none of whom are holding back because they're Joker-fied, so they're like trying to kill. I don't know. It's wild.
It is.
DC's bonkers.
Digging.
You can't say that enough. I mean, the comics, great.
Yeah.
The movies have given it a terrible reputation. And
Well, it's because there's more egos, right? These people are like head of studios, and they're like, we're not gonna have these comics tell us what's good. We know what's good. We're gonna do our own thing. No, thank you.
Right.
Because you've got all that. You got all those stories
well, it's
and artists and creators.
I mean, the thing that like people who are studio executives don't understand because they're so full of cocaine is that all of the properties that they're buying as franchises to adapt, whether that's Harry Potter or it's Star Wars that they're buying and taking as Disney or Warner Brothers taking on stuff like this, is that all of those initial franchises were successful for their own reasons and on their own merits. And if you goof with that too much, then you start interfering with what made it popular in the first place.
Yep.
And you're pretty well headed for disaster. Take apart what actually makes it special or worthwhile and appeals to its original audience.
Exactly.
So,
Yep. You like this whole Frankenstein plot of bringing Superman back?
Franken Superman?
Yeah.
No,
Frankincense.
this sort of annoyed me.
It's so quick, like shoehorns, just like
Well,
we're gonna bring it back to life. What?
All of this was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like every part of it, really.
Do you think Amazonian women automatically have makeup?
They're born with it.
Born with it on?
They're tattooed on.
Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. Why are they? That's a really good point. Is like if you were, just like we were talking about, like why would you wear armor or clothing like to this degree if your island is always 80 degrees and there's no predators on it and no biting flies?
And
right?
why does she have shaved legs?
Right.
And
yeah. Why would
shaved pits?
Right. Why wouldn't you have like a loincloth and maybe something to, why would you wear any makeup? Why wouldn't you also have like hair that is just like buzzed down to like 2 or 3 inches at the most? Like, why would you have long hair if you're like in a martial culture? Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a take of that with Wonder Woman in the comics?
Not really.
Making it more realistic? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like if you wanted to talk about that though, I mean, really, you would like if we're talking like Wonder Woman, like that, she's gonna dress martially. Mm-hmm. You're gonna be in it for battle, and that doesn't mean makeup, and that doesn't mean looking pretty. It means being ready to frickin' kill.
But to every woman's credit who works out at the gym, there's always that one gym nut that always goes into the locker room and puts on makeup before they go work out.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we're seeing here.
Those people exist. It's true.
I do remember there being a big hubbub about the fact that Amazonian women shouldn't be shaving their pits or their legs, and how ridiculous that statement was back then.
There are a lot of dudes that go to the gym that just try and look good too, that aren't there for like just actually getting shit done. But
yes, the bro that after one rep goes over to the mirror and makes sure that he's flexing correctly.
You just concentrate on form, dude.
Yeah.
I also love the people who are like convinced that they have to lift progressively larger and larger weights or heavier and heavier weights, like to keep. It's just you don't actually have to do that either.
But dude,
I would rather go to a gym where there's people that are like actually trying to lose weight, not the ones that are trying to maintain their physique.
Mm-hmm. Dude, tone is so much more important than size.
Right?
There are people that try and like get, like they want to get ripped, but they try and beef up. Like I mean, that's great. That's awesome if you bench press your body weight, but if you're bench pressing like double that, and you're just getting like enormous, like you're putting stress on your joints. You're not doing things like a human being even 100 years ago wasn't going to have access to equipment that was going to let them like build themselves up to that degree. You can get some guys naturally from like certain parts of the world would just be bulky, like
burly guys.
Weirdly, a lot of like island cultures, like people from like dudes from Scotland, Samoan dudes, a lot of West African dudes, like or East African dudes rather, like you could go for bulk naturally, like it just happens, but mostly just do body weight stuff.
Well, it looked like Cavill right there. I don't think he looks too crazy.
So wait a second.
He's looked crazier,
He was wearing a full suit, and then all of a sudden, what happened? Did the mother box?
They had to like take the shirt off.
This must be his one scene.
It's that one.
Yeah, the one scene for the contract. Yeah,
contractual thing.
It came from Sears.
Look
the
at
suit.
it, like his
cheap.
lats are insane. Like they're insane.
Why do people shave their abs but they don't their chest? It's like weird. It's like a weird looking Brillo pad.
Well, unless that's how we. This is interesting. Pet Cemetery. At least they acknowledge the ridiculousness of digging him up and stuff. What did he say?
Should we bow or show our bellies?
Oh. This is kind of cool. He's struggling with his...
Oh, this is such a weird, like, MacGuffin-y, like, we have to have this fight.
Yeah.
God.
Well, it's because the mother box or whatever is the cyborg side's...
My armor's defense system.
There's a threat or something.
I can't control it.
Well,
That
and
was really corny.
This was a night shot,
Hello.
I think,
No.
with Snyder.
Was it?
Yeah, they brightened it up and made it during the day.
So there was just one cop in that car?
Yeah, he's all right. That always got me about BVS, this monument they built for him. Everyone was so, like, not really a big fan of what he did and stuff. How would they have the money to build a big monument for him? You know, how would they be okay with that? Who approved that? It just kind of felt like, do we need this? But, of course, they killed him, so I think they were trying to do what they did in the comics with the big monument when he passes away or whatever. I don't know, it just felt like a big leap.
The last son of Crystal. Remember who you are.
I don't think he's mad or confused here. I think what happened was he's been dead for several months or in stasis mode, and he's really got to poop. I mean, I'd be that pissed off too.
Just tell me where the bathroom is.
I like this scene, though. The eye turns like, I see you.
Where's the pisser?
Speaking of poop, that's what he's doing right now. Yeah, because if Flash gets hit once, he's toast.
Oh, by Superman?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, one good swipe would...
So this does feel like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's definitely stakes in that fight.
Yeah.
Why not just punch him?
Did you hear the Donner or the
Yeah.
Williams score of Superman a little bit there? Danny Elfman scored this film. He came back on. He came on when Whedon did. So we're gonna hear the Keaton Batman
Wow.
and
Yeah, because wasn't it
when
going to be like...
Put the overtures in.
Yeah.
She does this so slow too. I'm gonna put them together like this. Just do it.
How about a headache?
That's cool. Bam. Yeah, that would have been bad.
That
Where's
would've
his
been-
armor suit?
Yeah, that would have been plenty. Like,
Go
I
get
think...
that armor suit, man.
Yeah, why not just wear a Kryptonian suit?
I think his head would have dislocated by now. This is kind of weird.
Yeah, a
He's
40-year-old
talking like
Batman,
that?
that's going to be hell on his vertebrae. Like, he's going to be messed up for a good week.
Doesn't need you. Tell me.
Do you bleed?
Clark?
And he just tosses him like nothing. Which he's quite he's high up there, right? I mean,
Yeah, that'd be
he just
quite a fall.
tosses him like nothing. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dude.
I'm not as old as Ben Affleck is, but I'm old enough that a fall like that would, irrevocably, you're not going to recover from that injury. I've had a Doomcast written forever, 3-part about why it's impossible to be Batman, and I still haven't done it. I'm gonna do it at some point, but one of the
Yeah.
big ones is like just the shelf life that you would have just physically from taking those kinds of hits. Mm-hmm. I don't think you even have 5 years of that in you.
Well, they kind of touched on that, though, in the Nolan verse
They
with the
did.
fact
Oh,
that he
man.
has, like, no cartilage in his knees anymore.
Yeah, you would be like, it would be like being a combo professional wrestler and football player times 10 for however long you actually did it. I mean, you could be Batman for maybe 2 years.
right. Yeah, so Batman he had a
Unless-
little joke there. He said, "I'm definitely bleeding." Ha ha ha.
Cute.
Yeah.
Unless the soles of Batman's feet uses the good feet shoe insert soles.
that you get from Walmart.
Yeah.
That Dr. Scholl's thing you stand on.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Good Feet store. Sorry. Put their jingle in.
I couldn't fight crime anymore until I bought my Good Feet insoles.
I like how they were so busy fighting Superman that they were just like, oh yeah, that whole thing that we were going to try and protect to keep the end of the world from happening,
right.
it just got ganked from us. And just goofed that up, didn't we? Sorry.
Amy Adams goes a little low on his man abs.
She has a weird line here, doesn't she? She says, like, you smell weird or something. I don't know. Some stupid line. This was behind the scenes. All of this, I think. This is them actually in their own character, just pissed off about the reshoots.
Like, I can't even believe that we're doing this.
This is the son of a biscuit.
Ben Affleck's like, I've read a lot of Batman comics, actually, and this is not the way any of it works.
Kevin Smith told me I'd get more screen time.
Yeah, that was a great way to get rid of Superman. Man, I'm not doing this on purpose. Right. Because you can't control the machine. So is this a bad time to
Yes.
my blood sugar?
I'm the diabetic Flash.
You don't have to ask permission. You could go to Taco Bell and be back before you even started this conversation.
Or
dude.
go upstairs and have Alfred or their chef cook you something.
Oh,
Right.
right. You're telling me that Bruce Wayne's fridge isn't constantly stocked?
He's got
Well-
the finest champagne, meat, whatever you need.
Oh,
It's
man.
all there.
Like how you...
meat and champagne.
Don't worry, folks. I've got the
Pepperoni
finest,
sticks.
the finest meat.
The finest pepperoni sticks.
You like Jack Link's Little Chub Smokies?
Oh, God.
Like I mean, we're talking a guy who's like levels so rich that like he probably doesn't know what he has in his fridge because other people are shopping for him, and he's just like, you know, he could run up and come back down and just be like, "Did you even know you had these?" No, I had no idea. I didn't even know that they made chocolate mint flavored Jack's Links.
Pretty much anything that's in his fridge is probably what Alfred wants to eat because he just goes out to eat anytime he wants.
This is a weird undersuit he has for the...
Like he still maintains the Bat logo on his suit.
And then she put a cape on for some reason, and she's in like a... Well,
I mean, I would be cold.
I
They're in
guess.
the basement.
It's just kind of weird. Like the lighting, it just feels like she's somewhere else, you know?
Is she gonna pop his shoulder back in?
She's just going to rip his arm off.
Ink.
Whoops.
That'll be good for another hour and a half.
Yeah, you're gonna need ice, dude.
No, I just need a drink.
Speaking of like whoever shops for him, like at some point, forget like all the money that he's sending to like R&D and stuff like that. Eventually somebody's going to be like, why is it that there's like a 6-gallon tub of Icy Hot delivered to the Wayne mansion every single day? Like he just like jumps into like a vat of it like it's a Bacta tank from Star Wars. Like they just give him a snorkel and he just swims in it. I don't know. How much would you even need?
The older he gets, the more stock he buys and insure.
You're just
And-
like snorting straight Aleve.
And naked pictures of B. Arthur.
Oh my God. You would just be ruined. It would take so much.
Why would anybody want that?
I don't know. Deadpool does. The big B. Arthur fan.
I do like this
Why
room.
would you sue? If you sued, you would have to publicly disclose in court that you're Batman. That's not even a good joke.
This is weird, though. Okay, Martha Kent put this house up for sale. She kept a flannel shirt inside for him in case he came back or what?
She could only take what she could carry.
She had a huge U-Haul. She couldn't put one flannel shirt in that U-Haul.
Well, dude was dead. Maybe she didn't have any reason for it.
She just left it there. Like,
Yeah.
My son's not coming
I
back.
will remember you.
And also, how all of a sudden did corn just appear like that? She didn't harvest that. Does she
That's
live?
a really good point.
Does she live next to a farmer?
It's the mother box.
Wasn't it just winter?
Yeah.
When she left at the beginning.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, I mean, maybe she is renting the house and the land is like corporate farmed. That sort of makes sense. But also, like, I don't know. Yeah.
I think they're trying to show the progression of time in this movie.
But you can't do that too much because the threat's coming. Like, that's the other thing. Look at Man of Steel, the military presence.
So weird. Yeah.
Where's the military presence in this? It's like
I would
just
say
don't care. Or you would think like where they're battling, there'd be like helicopters and all kinds of crap, like interference. It's just like no, everyone's
like
just on
half as
vacation.
interested.
Yeah.
this movie has to play somewhere around July.
It was, yeah, it's knee high.
Yeah. Knee high in July.
And the one, to the credit of Batman versus Superman, it was sort of a good idea that they had, Bruce Wayne, like, oh, I was in Metropolis when all of this went down.
Yeah.
Like, that was a great.
I dig that, yeah.
But they just too broadly, just the choices of the number of, antagonists that they had in that movie. I mean, they could have just made it about Batman and Superman having beef. They could have left Luthor out of it entirely if they'd wanted to. I mean, jeez.
I think in the beginning when they were doing a follow-up to Man of Steel, I remember them teasing it at the con, and it was like very exciting, of course. I think it just kind of grew. Like it was supposed to be, we're bringing in Batman, and then it just started growing like, okay, well, we're going to get the Justice League. Let's just bring in more people and shoehorn them into a video clip.
Yeah, and just, I don't know.
It's just, yeah.
Wait,
They decided to
play
play catch up. They decided to try and find a way to develop a competing product, and it was pointless.
Mm-hmm.
How is corn growing, but there's no leaves on the trees?
It's a movie. They don't care. They gave up.
You still fit the shirt.
That's what she came back for, the shirt. I forgot
So
it.
he's now not crazy.
Right.
No.
Because Lois calmed him down, basically. But that's
Yeah.
the thing. Didn't Superman and Batman kind of make up before he died? So there wouldn't be too much anger,
Kind
would
of,
there
yeah.
be? I mean... So, if he's got the 3 boxes, it's over, isn't it?
You would think.
Apparently, them joining together takes about an hour.
Yeah, because they're still clear over in the United States. And this guy's just doing this in Russia. Where's the military presence? Not even Russian military is present?
Yeah.
It's kind of silly. Like, that's all right.
No, Putin would be on that really quickly. Really quickly.
Maybe there's a deleted scene. They're talking. He's in the background on horseback.
And why doesn't he talk to Darkseid at any point in this film? Why doesn't Darkseid get into it and say, how's the progress going? What's going on?
So many whys and whats. We just don't have all the answers. That's what sucks about it all. You get close, like what Kevin Smith said recently about he talked to people who worked on the film. Like, that's how close we can get. It's not satisfying still. Someday I want to know. I want them to do like what John Schnepp did with The Death of Superman. They have to make a documentary of what could have been,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or like
I don't think it got that far in production, though.
Jodorowsky's Dune, like the documentary about like what that would have been like.
Mm-hmm.
And how like all the sets and everything from it ended up getting used for Star Wars and just weird stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's a crazy documentary too.
Holy crap.
Like documentaries about movies that never got made are pretty
Fascinating.
wild.
Yeah.
They really are.
That's quite a bit of a jump there.
I'd say that's quite a.
This is a Back to Future 3 moment with the train.
That's a cool idea though, like a lake entrance.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is like
When they knock Alfred on his ass with that,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
we're
and
gonna
then that
fly
thing-
right over him.
trying to make that thing close back
Poor
up.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause a delay between each box, even for a nanosecond. Its energy will cascade, form a loop.
I don't. Yeah, the suit's too bulky. The bat suit right here. It's just. It's like a suit you'd wear if you're not in shape. Basically, it feels like a lot of people have said Michelin Men.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This part's kind of cool. He's sitting on the lasso.
We gotta shut the Steppenwolf down. Superman's out. He's got no power, no offense. This guy might be working for the enemy, we don't know. You're tripping over your feet and mine. Oof. You're gorgeous. Fierce and strong. I know we want to work Amazon for my time. And you know what? I don't want to die. I'm young. There's shit that I want to do. I still like, I never really embraced the sea or the land. I've been alone my whole life, being part of something bigger like this. Maybe I'm scared because I'm meant to.
That was kind of a clever little.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I dug it.
I think that was beautiful.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Momoa Aquaman.
No. I think he's good.
I thought it was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty fun. But it's also weird that like he's got that armor that has the Aquaman symbol on it, but what they ended up doing with the movie where they were just like, oh, he's been like outside of all of it the entire time, made a whole bunch of stuff that happened in Justice League just not make any sense.
Well,
in
yeah, it's just
retrospect.
like it's kind of like a reboot in a way, but they still reference it. Like if she never said anything about Steppenwolf, then I would think that. But they
Right.
they brought it up. It's like, do we
Yeah.
have to bring it up? So that makes me think that they
there's
may
so many
sequelize
things,
this someday.
There's so many things that I think people who make movies or work in Hollywood do that they think they think that they're doing certain things by sewing up plot holes, but you tell a better story by leaving questions a lot of
Yeah.
times, I think. And you don't have to answer every single question, because sometimes when you do, you make things.
They don't give people
Real
enough
weird.
credit to, use their heads. And I mean, you have the
Right.
moviegoer that does not want to
Yes.
think. I totally get that. But I think it's more intriguing to have the mystery be, and not every question or, not everything has to be answered, basically.
Why did they put goggles on Batman?
Because Owlman.
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad point.
That's Zack
they
Snyder at his
definitely-
best. I mean, Owlman looks exactly like Batman. Almost.
With what they're doing here, yeah, I feel like
And there's no reason for the goggles anyway. I mean,
No.
they don't show that it gives him any sort of tactical ability. I mean, is he just trying to protect his eyes?
yeah, it's not like an onboard heads-up display.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no readout or anything.
But as our PBS special has always told us, there's no more important safety than these safety goggles.
I'd rather them look more like goggles than like sunglasses. I don't know. It just feels like,
yeah, they definitely do feel more like glasses.
yeah,
Buy the new Batman Oakleys.
yeah, really.
Well, I mean, you can
That's what
just
it feels
explain that
like.
away with just like like a whiteout eye,
Yeah.
and then just
Like Bale did in
Yeah.
Dark Knight when he had to get
That would have been
sonar.
better.
Right.
Yeah.
That was cool.
that's so much easier.
Yeah.
Like you could just CG that in. You don't even need
And
to.
people would love to see the white eye, especially
Right.
with Deadpool doing it. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. It's not that damn difficult,
No.
probably. I don't know anything about CG, but I just presume.
Well, I think some people in this movie didn't know either.
no, I guarantee you.
It's like the Star Wars prequels. It looks great. Until you high definition the shit out of it, and you're like, oh my, that's not there.
Fun fact, parademons can be actually fought off by 12-gauge shotguns and a crowbar.
Now you see all the people. Yeah.
They can also be outrun by a rusty Ford. Oh, there goes the house.
The Love Shack.
Yeah, what is that? Is that a Ford?
I
The truck?
think it might be an old Chevy.
I find that very surprising in Russia.
Well, you know.
Maybe they came from America to Russia, and they're like, we have to bring Dad's Ford truck. I don't know.
They emigrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
They brought his Ford truck from the 1950s.
Yes. It was his dad's. And his dad's before him.
I'm surprised a bug spray joke wasn't even thrown in here yet.
He's like a drunk Batman that scene. Son of a bitch. I'll kill you.
Yeah, he can't electrify the outside of the
Yeah, there's no
Batmobile.
shield.
He can't.
Well,
Yeah. I'll dig it. It looks like it pained Irons to say these lines. He's like, I'm an actor. I gotta say this shit.
Yeah, that's. We both know that's not what that is.
product placement, Yahoo.
Sorry.
Also
Ugh.
acid. You know, look at these funky colors.
Ugh.
Well, here's my thing. Aquaman. It seems like he can... Can he survive a fall? Because he's just going up there with no thought. Okay.
I mean,
I know he was strong in Aquaman and stuff, but...
Well, I mean,
I
you
guess
think
the
about
desert
it, like,
scene, yeah.
you're an Atlantean, so your body's built to survive, like, pressure from the ocean.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So your tissues are thick, probably pretty close to a Kryptonian.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to take a good punch.
Yeah.
Or survive a really, really good fall.
Well, that's good to know, because he's just curiously, like, just leaping out of things. Oh,
Off I go.
That looked like a Schumacher scene. From, like,
Now
Batman
that's
Forever.
a Snyder scene.
That was good.
There's a lot of this that I'm fine with. Like, there's just individual shots where I'm like, that's pretty cool. But
why is his eyes glowing now? Is it because of the boxes?
they couldn't do
together?
this with Batman's eyes? All right. Fair enough.
DC is never willing to admit that Batman has white eyes.
It doesn't seem like it.
These things are gonna keep coming. Okay, you get technical. I'm on duty.
Dan loves this.
So he's just
version of
shoving
the
his
Flash.
hand into these... like...
He's not even punching him, really, is he? How did Batman see him in order to save him? He's going so fast,
This is
right?
what I'm saying. They should have just made Luthor a villain in an initial Justice League movie. Because, I mean, even the name itself implies, like,
Yeah.
justice, right? They're not a group that's forming specifically for, like, oh, we got to save, like, the world from a cosmic threat. It's for entirely different purposes.
Well,
And
you
that's
kind of done it.
of DC's, the source of things for DC is more...
Right. Like, you could have done, like, a Justice League League of Doom mashup in one film. Like, Luthor realizes the threat is bigger than he thought, so he recruits some people.
Maybe.
I mean, that'd be kind of jam-packed, you know. Maybe
Yeah.
a 3-hour movie would be good. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Vent holes.
Finally, they figure it out. The suit doesn't need to smell all the time.
And I like how somehow the nuclear silo doesn't have any radiation issues.
You don't know what direction you're going? That's... Come on, Barry.
Well, and there's a lot of shots we didn't get in this film. There is a scene with Cyborg. He has a full mask, comes down, covers his whole face.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, because they made a toy of him that had a full mask.
How is it possible that Kryptonians have never crossed with Steppenwolf before?
Oh, they've been out of the game for 35 years, roughly. But yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Because if Superman's able to beat Steppenwolf pretty single-handedly...
Oh, that would have been really cool. Like the ship they went
Right.
to would have given them all the history. Because I loved how Man of Steel broke down the history of Krypton. How
Yeah.
they did all that, you know?
They would have run into
That would've been
Steppenwolf.
They
would have
should
run into
have.
Brainiac at some point.
Well, that's
Right.
how Luthor comes to know Steppenwolf at the end of...
BVS?
yeah, when he's in the chamber, the extended version.
Yeah.
And you
Man.
see Steppenwolf like right there with the mother boxes, and he looks different than this.
Oh yeah.
Totally
Brainiac.
different.
Brainiac would have been.
Oh,
a
that's
great
something they got to do on the
initial
big
villain.
screen. They got to give us Brainiac. That'd be so good.
I don't have any faith that they're gonna end up making a really good.
That's a nice
DC.
fist.
It just bums me out. They got such a good Superman. Like, I really like Cavill as Superman. He's like Christopher Reeves, but he's like super jacked. You know, he's very close
Yeah.
to the comics. You know.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the Batman the Animated Series
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or Superman the Animated Series.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's terrible. I do
Yeah.
not like you. Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's really corny.
Why do we need these jokes right now? Yeah, they've really overcorrected Superman in this.
There's
Nah, a lot of people were praising the Superman this time around. A little
I
bit
don't
more
hate it. It just-
back to.
It's just such a
He
sharp
definitely
turn
is.
from how he was in the last film. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
where
I
he's
guess-
just over the top powerful.
yeah,
like he
he's
is
very
in comics.
somber. You know,
Uh-oh.
and people complain about the civilians that died. You know, so that's why he's all of a sudden like, wait, we got to stop this fight. I gotta go get civilians, get them out of here.
Oh, Superman catches up with him.
Why wasn't there a Flash joke saying, "You're not going to take this laying down, are you?" Would have been funnier.
Oh, with Superman.
Yeah.
Okay, isn't there a problem with this? Wouldn't the dad have to steer really fast? Or are
Yeah.
they going straight? I guess they went straight. That would suck, though. It's like, you can't control the car. Direction.
Yeah, you would think. My God. And Superman just brings a whole apartment building. That's neat.
And that's how people from Chernobyl moved away. Did he just toot?
You won't know it.
The Flash could literally be the best crop duster in the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah. Like lines from like I don't know, some macho guy at a frat bar. This guy bothering you?
Pick on someone your own size. It's just interesting, like, if you take the family out, what Snyder was going to do in those filler scenes, if you will. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's just, damn it. So frustrating. And they're still not, like, being truthful. They keep saying he left because of his daughter, which is terrible, but I think they wanted him out either way. It was going to happen either way. Because they just were not allowing him to have his vision. It's just...
Well, his vision kind of wasn't that great.
No, and I get that too.
I mean, is part of it, and I feel like, you know, they. I think that this is sort of ridiculous that there's like this degree of levity, and that it's no longer yellow, it's red, white, and blue. That's sort of silly too.
Yeah.
I don't know why that changed suddenly, but
Here's Dan's favorite scene. Just grabs him by the head. Like
That's
I
all
like
right.
I like the color, how it pops, the Superman. But yeah, you can tell like that suit wasn't really made for that type of lighting because it really shows the fakeness of the
yeah,
whole
whatever
suit.
they decided that they wanted to do with it, it doesn't. It looks sort of weird. There, it's back to a little bit of yellow.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
Uh-oh.
That's Axe.
Literally.
So he gets. Yeah.
I'll get you. And your little dog too.
Well, yeah. Send him back to wherever he's going.
This was supposed to be the ending. Like, they were going to look up and see Darkseid, and he would see them. And then that's when the second one took place. They went to space and took him on. That was the plan, anyway. That's his helmet. That's good. Bruce can put that in his Batcave. Souvenir.
Weird choices all around.
Yeah.
Weird choices.
I think the is it George Miller who did the Mad Max films? He was going to do a Justice League.
Yeah, he was in like
That probably would have been
1999.
better. Yeah.
Oh man, they were gonna make the guy that was Toe Cutter in the original Mad Max and
Yep.
Morton Joe was gonna be Martian Manhunter.
Ooh.
And they
Yeah.
showed, we recently seen the shots of what they would have looked like. Army Hammer was Batman, and
Yeah, jeez, holy crap. That would have been weird, but
Adam Brody was Flash. He was from the OC, and he's been in some other films.
yeah. And his career really
He needed that film.
Kinda
to
dried
say.
up
Yeah. Well,
after.
what's fascinating is that I think that movie was going to come out like the same time the Bale started out.
Yeah.
So I was like, how are those going to
Well,
coexist?
no, because Bale's would have came out in 2005, and if they had started filming in 98, 99, it probably would have come out around the same time as the first X-Men movie.
Oh, I guess I thought it was slated to release like in 09 or I'm sorry, 06 or so. I thought it
Wow,
was later.
maybe
I thought it was later, but yeah, I could be wrong.
it could have been. I mean, like, especially at that time, like they didn't probably know like what kind of production schedule that they would need, so they probably would have given themselves a wide berth. But I
Right.
know that they like. I think what happened with that is like their funding for it just dried up, and Warner Brothers was like, "We're not going to bother with this."
Yeah,
anymore.
I think they had all the costumes made. They all flew over to Australia to film it, and then like in 2 weeks it was like, nope, it's gone. It's not happening.
It's real weird that that's what happened with it, and that like I don't know, Warner Brothers just didn't have the prescience
They just suck.
to do that.
I just
don't
get
know.
that from them. Like, too bad DC can't be its own studio. You know,
Well, but then what DC? I mean, what Warner?
not to say they're great
ended up-
either, but you know,
Well, they ended up
decision-making.
making the Justice League cartoon, and then Justice League Unlimited, Young Justice, all the animated stuff.
yeah, and that's good.
Like, there's-
Flashpoint, I love Flashpoint.
There's good DC,
Yeah.
like film media out there. It's just almost all animated.
just live action. You just can't make the jump.
The,
Pretty much.
the CW stuff's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've got my own issues, but man,
I do too.
they try and pack too much
Yeah.
into the live action movies. Other than Nolan's trilogy, weird stuff.
Yeah, this scene is where he gets his more iconic.
That would have
armor.
been more in the middle of the movie, I would assume.
Humpback whales. George and Gracie. That's kind of weird running.
I
isn't it?
don't like
It's like
that.
he's skating, not running.
Yeah.
He looks like he's
Yeah,
throwing a
it-
temper tantrum.
It doesn't look like a person running at all. It looks like who runs like that?
This time, the light shone.
I love that idea, or just like
for the cops.
have-
Just tie him up with the lasso.
and then just interview him.
yeah. I hope he comes back as Gordon. J.K. Simmons. I dug as Gordon. I mean, you wouldn't get much of it. And there's the Batwing.
Finally,
He rebuilt it. It's just like the one we saw before.
I really want a Batman Beyond movie. That would be
Yeah.
dope.
Well, the Warner Brothers said they were making an animated one, and then they took it back. So
They're like, we're not doing that.
Sonic Boom.
I still think. I mean, a lot of people are.
Yoga Flame.
Yoga Fire.
A lot of people think that they just need to do Keaton as old Bruce Wayne and just do the Batman Beyond right now. You know, you're
They
doing
could.
these standalones. You got the Joker coming.
I mean-
keep going. Just do these one-offs, if you will. I don't know.
I'm a big Damian Wayne fan. I'm a big Grant Morrison Batman fan, and so I would definitely relish a like series of like future Batman movies, like where you have like start off with and like a Dick Grayson taking over as Batman with an aging Bruce Wayne, and then you have, maybe Dick Grayson dies and Terry McGinnis takes over as Batman Beyond, and whatever else happens after that. Then make an immortal Damian Wayne makes a deal with the devil to, like, as long as Gotham still exists, I'm immortal.
That'd be crazy.
Which is, it's even in DC.
Yeah, well, yeah, like you said, they're far out.
Crazy stuff.
So didn't they already race in a way? Superman caught up to him, right? So.
Oh yeah.
But this is in the comics too, right? Them racing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's cool. That's the betrayal.
Do you like this scene? If you ignore the movie, let's say.
I mean, this is fun.
Except he brought up brunch again. Like, enough with the brunch joke. It's stupid.
Which is that way, because the sun and
I'm a dork.
Yeah, I just don't like Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Well, they're waiting on him still to make the Flash movie, so they must still want him. Yeah.
Nobody
We
runs
got
like that.
One more
Yeah.
scene, which is great. I really dug this scene coming up. Deathstroke, Luthor.
Oh yeah,
He's
that's
out
right.
of Arkham. Yeah, I like that correction they did with Eisenberg. I don't know. His Lex was just all over the place. He's like a schizophrenic in the...
In Batman versus Superman, it's terrible because like Lex
Yeah.
Luthor isn't a crazy person.
Yeah.
He's the exact opposite.
He's like collected. He's a ladies' man. I mean, I guess my Lex is kind of like the animated series Lex. in a
Lex
way.
Luthor-
That's who I like. As
Lex Luthor in comics is like ripped Jeff Bezos. Mm-hmm. Like that's he's super. He's intelligent. He's calculating. He's a good businessman, and he's not afraid of anything. And he's completely amoral. Mm-hmm. And he's also ripped. And he hates the idea of an alien being in control of anything. Like those are kind of cool motivations.
Sure.
And he's super arrogant and kind of an a-hole.
when he becomes president in the comics too.
Yeah, at some points.
That'd be interesting for a movie.
It would. I mean, that would have, like I say, he would have been a great opening Justice League movie where it's like your whole, you have like one person who's a billionaire basically becoming like an anti-Batman that's able to stand up to, the rest of the Justice League and snow everybody and get basically PR on his side.
Well, he has like an Ironmonger
great.
suit now in the comics, right?
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
in mythology.
He's had the power armor that's like powered by kryptonite or something.
Yeah,
Or
so Superman can't touch him. It's perfect.
there's an arc at Dan Jurgens that was like right at the beginning of at the end of New 52 or the beginning of Rebirth, where Superman's gone for a period of time and Lex Luthor takes over as the Superman of Metropolis. He just like puts the S on his power armor, turns it blue, throws a cape on, and he's just like, I'm Lex Luthor and I'm your new Superman. You don't need an
Oh
alien.
yeah, I think I know. Yeah,
And it gets everybody on his side. And it's crazy.
Well, and I don't know if this is. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not a huge spoiler, but the Reign of Superman comics. I watched the animated version last night, and Superboy is a clone that Lex basically created. It's part of him and it's part of Clark. Is that how they were in the comics?
It's,
okay.
it's half Luthor, half Clark Kent, or half Superman. And I think that's pretty frickin'. It's wild. They have that in Young Justice too. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Connor Kent as a character in Superboy, especially the way they portray him in Young Justice, is great. Mm-hmm. Like more compelling than Superman in some ways because you've got this character that's grounded and that's always been aware of what he is, but also like. Didn't really grow up, didn't even have a childhood because you're
just created
tank. So you have this struggle with like learning, having the power that you have and learning kind of a moral footing that Superman was raised with. I don't know.
Right.
I think that's interesting.
Well, that's what sucks is how they jump the gun and kill Superman. You're not going to get the Reign of Superman. Because I would love to see Steel on the big screen.
Oh, that would be awesome.
how they did him in the Reign of Superman cartoon is amazing. Like it's like kind of Iron Man-esque, you know. He's got tech. It's really cool what they did. I think they really kind of they brought that character into the now, if you will.
Third assistant director, Barney Shakespeare. That's great.
He made that up, right? Come on.
Nope, that was up there.
I mean, no, he did himself. He changed his name
Line
to
producer, Finney Johansson.
Ooh.
Oh, Scarlett's
all-
cousin. Yeah, that scene should be coming up any second now. All these
Ricky
people in the credits.
Hansen. Wow, how many... Man, they must have done a lot of this in
A lot of post.
Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because a lot of these
crazy
names...
Well, and is Whedon even doing anything right now? Like, I know he kind of got Me Too'd, but...
Yeah, because he was a real, like,
he's a
kind of abusive creep to his wife, apparently.
right.
But
like,
being
work-wise,
married to him was, like, nightmarish. And, like, I don't know, like, some people who are driven, like, I guess I get that, but, like, that maybe you're a really intense personality, but also you don't have to be, like, a fucking dick.
to put it simply, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if he's got any projects now. I mean, this probably did not help him.
No.
Maybe, I think there's a Firefly cartoon coming out. I'm sure he's producing. I don't think he's coming back to Marvel anytime soon.
No, they don't. I mean,
Especially after this. Well, he had the Batgirl deal. I think that's why he did this. He get the Batgirl deal. Then, all the personal stuff came out, and then he left that project. So
they need to let freaking Ryan Coogler direct more Marvel stuff outside of just Black Panther 2.
yeah,
Because that guy's just solid. I feel like Russo's really have figured out how, like, their bag is like ensemble movies, and they've just nailed those. So I don't know.
Yeah.
In my head, they
Infinity
can't do any
War,
wrong.
I was just like, how do you? Because like we were saying earlier, when you introduce all these characters, like it's so much, but they made it work. Like it's just
Well, and it's also because, unlike this movie, there was so much exposition. There was so much that was introduced. Every single character that was in Infinity War, except for the Black Order, everybody else had already had screen time. There was no introduction necessary for anything.
Exactly. Yeah, see right there, look, Batman theme, 89. Elfman put that in there, and then Superman theme, 78.
Even with the what was it? Even with the Batman. I don't even know what I was going to say about. Never mind. I have no idea.
Well, this movie's a puzzle. It really is. It's
And Kurt Swan, Ethan Van Sciver gets a shout out. Okay, for what?
Jerry Siegel family. That's
Mort
good.
Weisinger, awesome.
They're like, please don't. Please don't put me in these credits.
Some of them. Grant
wanna be
Morrison got a
associated.
shout out, but it's just like, all right, like there's definitely things Morrison did.
Here comes a good scene. I liked it. Justice League.
That was a good scene right there.
Yeah, right there. Justice League. Here we go.
Oh. I don't feel like I remember a hell of a lot about this. Oh yeah, it's just not him.
Nope. I think there might have been a scene where they broke him out. They just scrapped that too. Yeah, this is Joe Manganiello. I think that's how you say his name, as Deathstroke, which is a big deal, I think.
Yeah,
He's
that's
a big
fine.
nerd, by the way. He
Oh, yeah.
loves Dungeons and Dragons and.
For a glass of Food de Diamant. I was just celebrating God's return out of the ground and back up into the sky. He and his odd little friends are forming some sort of league. You better not be wasting my time. No, I have too much to live for. And more important things to do.
See, he's more collected.
Level the playing field, Mr. Wilson. To put it plainly, shouldn't we have a league of our own?
Yeah, I like that version of Luthor. If it's him, they're going to do that.
Right.
That was a lot more collected and calm, let's say. Now, you could say, like, the Steppenwolf or whoever kind of made him quirky because he was all into that, right? Of contacting them or something.
Yeah, but I'm not.
I don't know.
This is definitely, I think we can agree, that's a much better
Oh, yeah.
iteration of Luthor.
Yeah, and I want to see the Deathstroke, of course. But, yeah, that's Justice League, everyone. Yeah, it's a movie.
There was a time where I thought that, like, The Rock would have made a terrible Lex Luthor. I think he would have been great.
Yeah, right.
I know that, like...
He wouldn't be putting Jolly Ranchers into people's mouths and sucking his finger afterwards. That was weird.
Yeah.
Who was it? Vincent D'Onofrio was... said that he wanted to be Lex Luthor, but it's like, are you going to do anything different than being the Kingpin? You don't have to, but also don't do that.
No, you don't need to. He perfected Kingpin. That's
It's too good.
Yeah.
They really need to they need to create another season of Daredevil one way or the other.
What are your thoughts of seeing Justice League again? Likes, dislikes, whatever you can think of.
I'm still scratching my head. I want to see one more.
Yeah.
I haven't made up my mind yet.
It's still a mess, and I'm fine with parts of it. I'm fine with some people's characterizations. There's a lot of shots that are cool. There's a lot of characters that I'm like, it's great that you introduced it, but it's also like, if you're going to do it right.
Right.
I don't know.
That's
frustrating.
Treat it like this is your only chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted.
Or,
so to speak,
like, you don't have to rush to, like, throw certain things in. It's very unlikely that we're going to end up seeing another Jesse Eisenberg as Luthor. We're probably not going to see a lot of these characters. Are they going to actually do the Flash movie? I feel like if Warner Brothers was smart, they'd just scrap what they did, start over. I mean, go ahead and produce Batman movies. Make it like a Brave and the Bold thing where you have like 5 different Batman movies with him teaming up with a different character, then make a League movie.
Yeah.
That's fine. If that's what you've got to do, you know, if you want to do a better Batman versus Superman, just keep it to Batman versus Superman. Don't cram a whole bunch of other stuff in there.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, we got Aquaman's success and Wonder Woman so far, so that's something.
Yeah.
That helps, but yeah.
Aquaman was fine.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think it was interesting to get a horror director to do the film. I thought there was some good moments there, but
yeah, visually it was outstanding. I think it was a lot more sound of a story than this was. This was a mess.
Yeah,
but
it was. They're basically playing cleanup now, so
yeah, more or less.
We'll see where they go. I want to thank you for being on, Dan. Really,
thank you.
Appreciate you coming by. This was fun.
Yeah,
it was so fun. We talked about other things during the movie, which that's fine. It's what it is, you know. You can't explain what you're seeing. That's Justice League, everyone, and we'll be back again with we don't know yet,
and
more movies.
Who knows if Justice League will be?
Yeah,
who knows if Justice League will be? There you go.
That's something.
Well, with that said, I'm Josh.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Dan.
Have a good one. Take care.
You're all too weak to see the truth.
Well, I believe in truth. But I'm also a big fan of justice.